Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the HalfGen podcast. I am joined, as always, by my friend Nat. Ross is on call this week. And what the heck did that just do? Sorry, it messed up my. Hold on, I gotta work with me here. Come on now. Oh, the stupid thing just messed everything up. I'm fixing it. Stream stuff, nothing broken on your guys' end. You won't notice anything was wrong in the video because Tony takes care of that stuff. But for the stream, are we pointing at Domino?
Domo, yeah.
Domo? I don't remember his name.
Domo-chan.
Domo. Thank you. I don't
Domo
remember.
Swan.
I don't actually remember what it's from.
It's just a thing in Japan. Like it's
Oh,
like
okay.
a mascot, but it's not from. It has its own like show and stuff.
Yeah. I thought it was in like a game or something, but that could just be me making it up.
It might also be in a game, but it's a mascot. It was like a toy, like a teddy bear that also has its own show and everything. At least from my knowledge, I could be wrong. Somebody could pop up with the Domo lore from the past 30 years that I don't know about, but
Well, for now,
fuck
you're
with
our
my guy.
resident Domo expert, so I will take everything you say as science fact.
He didn't like that.
For those listening on the audio version, Domo just jumped. Knew we were talking about it. But yeah, Ross is on call this week, so just a two-man show, but we're gonna make the most of it as we always do. How you doing today, Nat?
Chilling, taking it easy. I was playing Minecraft, looking at the Discord on my other screen, waiting for people to join, and I didn't realize nobody else was joining, and my phone was dead, so I didn't get the text that Chris said, ready when you are. So I was needlessly waiting for no reason. I've been here for 2 hours, just sitting here. I was here when you joined the Discord server, and I seen you. I was like, oh, he'll let me know when we're ready to go.
Well, see, that's the thing is I joined the podcast channel because I'm like, if he sees me in here by myself, he knows I'm not recording, so he'll probably just join. And then
But it said you were streaming, so I thought you were playing Destiny. I was like, oh, he'll let me know when he's done playing Destiny.
No, I was playing Destiny until you got in, so we could do.
I was playing Minecraft until you told me you're ready to play. You're ready to record the podcast. So I was just sitting here.
We were both sitting here, assuming the other person would figure out what we were doing.
Yeah.
But here we are. We made it. We're finally out here recording. Other than Minecraft, you been playing anything fun this week, Nat?
2K. Played some of that, right? It's not a good game at all. What else have I been playing? Some Divinity. And I played some Astro's Playroom. Have I played anything else? I don't think so, actually. I feel like I played one more thing, but I can't seem to figure out what that was, so I'm just going to assume that I didn't play anything else.
Fair enough. I have actually played quite a few things this week. I also partook in the Divinity. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But more importantly, I played a couple of new-ish games this week. Just today, I played this game. It's on Steam now. It's called Adios. It's like a narrative adventure game about a pig farmer who disposes of bodies for the mob. And your friend and mob contact shows up one day for a drop, and you just tell him I'm out. And it sounded like a really cool premise, and I was like really excited to kind of see that through, because the guy's like, you can't just leave. Why would you want to leave? Why would you give this up? And so he follows you around for like a day on the farm, kind of seeing what you do, and he's trying to talk you into staying because like he doesn't want to have to kill you, because that's the only way out. And your character knows that, and the guy knows that, and he just doesn't want to have to kill you. It was interesting. The issue is twofold. One, that game has no mouse sensitivity settings, and it's too much. It's way too sensitive. It just felt really weird. The other thing is I found a game breaking bug. Um,
Mhm.
right off the rip, like pretty early, like in my first half hour. It's like an hour and a half to 2 hour game. And in my first half hour, the NPC got stuck. And once he got stuck, my controls stopped working properly. So,
Mm.
like, sometimes pressing forward would move me backwards. But then if I changed the camera, it would move me forward. But then if I pressed left or right, they wouldn't move. But then if I pressed forward, I would move to the left. So that game seems cool, also seems very bugged. So
Mhm.
maybe, it got a lot of great reviews. It was overwhelmingly positive. So I was like, hey, or it was very positive. One of the two. It was very highly rated by the community. So I was like, hey, I like these types of games. Let me check this out. And it just did not work out for me. And then I ended up like looking up the ending on YouTube, and it was kind of a letdown.
Mhm.
That's a me problem. But yeah, it is what it is. Can't change that now. But it was just weird that I had that bug, that specific bug, and kind of how it ended up working. It was really weird. I have nothing against the game. It was just, check that out maybe if you're interested. I hope you don't get that bug because it was really weird and really disorienting, and I didn't like it at all.
Mhm.
Which is a shame. I also played. Have you heard of Loop Hero?
Yes, I have. I realized I did play another game actually.
Okay.
Also,
Do you want to go next, or do
I
you want me to
also
talk about it?
experienced the bug today while we
Oh,
were talking about this. Playing Minecraft. Minecraft Bedrock Edition is a piece of shit and doesn't run as intended. And you thought you had enough with Java, but yeah, it just doesn't work right. I was trying to set up some, simple commands. You know, I set up like some command blocks in the center of town. Help my friends who I'm getting into Minecraft. Just cope with the Minecraft going on is very easier. So like one of my friends has been playing while I haven't been there a lot. The other two have been playing only when like the weekend when I hit them up. My other friend has really gone deep on the Minecraft like rabbit hole and has been like, okay, he's been doing stuff on his own, building stuff. So I just set up a 3 command block buttons that just like one set today, the other one is like clear rain, and there's a mystery button which was supposed to be a surprise, but it didn't work. Like it was just supposed to give you 5 levels of XP, like once every couple hours if you press the button. But it wasn't working because normally you'd be like you when you type in a command on a command block to hit a button, you would type in for levels. For example, it's like slash XP 5L for levels at self, and at self is glitched in Bedrock Edition. So at S is glitched. It doesn't work for whatever reason.
hmm.
Like no
Seems
matter what
weird
I
that
did, it
wouldn't
doesn't
work.
work. But it's also weird because on like in the command block prompt screen where you're doing it, they're like, "Hey, here's how you do this." At self is the literally the first one. At player, at R for at player for person nearest, like at P for person nearest, at R for random, at whatever. And there's a bunch of those, right? And it literally says at S at the top and it doesn't work. So, glitchy. Um and
I
like
just can't think of why it wouldn't work. That's so weird.
I don't
You
know.
would think that's something they'd have fixed.
And like how you pat down paths with the shovel and you get that little dirt path that doesn't look just like dirt.
Yeah.
So it's weird because there's no consistency with how that behaves under fences. So walls and fences used to behave as the same entity, but for whatever reason now they don't. And fences behave different than walls, but they don't make sense. Um, well, fences make sense, walls don't. Walls clip with everything, so like if there's grass growing, grass can't grow under a wall unless you place it as grass, but you can't pat down a path underneath a wall. It glitches it out, and it glitch the blocks around it, which is really weird. So that was kind of annoying
That
today.
sounds
Little
super
little
weird.
things, especially when you want to do some like more detail oriented things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. Like when you want everything to like look consistent and stuff, and
Hmm.
You can't do that if it's just going to be broken.
Yeah, that's been annoying. And then I did play one other game. I played Overwatch.
Oh shit! I've been thinking about that.
I played with some friends, my friend Val and Pebbles. Shouts out to them. They were in a call, and I haven't like they're like very much night owls. And I seen them on. I jumped in. I was like, "Hey, what's going on, guys?" I was like, "I'm not playing Overwatch." I was like, "A word." So I hopped on a game with two. I got like 3 games with them. They were playing ranked. I definitely should have hopped in ranked because I haven't played that game in forever. But yeah, I was just just goofing around,
Were you still
having a
playing
blast.
Reinhardt or?
I was playing. I played Reinhardt for the first game. Then I played Laser Chick. I played mostly tanks. I wanted to get a Symmetra game at the end because no, like I guess Symmetra's fallen out of the meta, and I didn't think people would expect my bullshit with Symmetra. But
Well, she
no,
plays
but I
completely
didn't get a.
different now, as far as I'm aware.
Now I was playing in some so like they have the matches take forever to match make because nobody plays that game, so they have that lobby where you could play around until they find you a proper match.
Well, there's a lot of people who still play Overwatch. It's just the queue system is it's fast
Mm-hmm.
uh for certain like types. So like it's I think like DPS has like the longest wait time. The role queue, it's different based on your role.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
think
know it has
Overwatch
that,
is
but
still relatively popular.
we had 3 people playing, and I don't think any of us was playing DPS. Like we were all playing. So my friend Val was playing support. I was playing tank, and my friend Pebbles was also playing tank.
Hmm.
So in theory, we should have gotten to a match pretty quick, but it still took long. But I was playing Symmetra in the loading lobby or whatever.
Oh, and like the skirmish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Overwatch is Overwatch. It was interesting.
I kind of want to try it again, but like I kind of don't. I don't want to get sucked back into it.
Mm.
I'm afraid.
That community is way more toxic for as childish of a game as that is. And I don't mean childish, but like for something that's supposed to be more family friendly, that community is kind of toxic.
Oh yeah, that's half the reason I stopped playing. Overwatch got incredibly toxic.
There's too
Even
many
like playing with
elitists.
people I knew was getting rough.
Mm-hmm.
It's half the reason I don't want to go back is I just don't want to have to like deal with that again.
Personally speaking, like I'm at the age where I feel like communities definitely ruin games for me. Like, and it's ruined some games I love, some games I hate, and like, I was like, okay, I don't have to deal with this anyway. Like, community is half the reason I don't play Valorant, even though I feel like I would enjoy Valorant. I don't think the community is very good. Apex is similar. Street Fighter is very similar. And Overwatch is very similar. Communities, I feel like, take me away from those games. Apex being like it's an excuse because I also don't like that game. But yeah, those the rest of those games in that list I love or feel like I would really like, but the communities are kind of bad.
Yeah, I
Street
get
Fighter
that.
specifically, because
Yeah. I mean, like I've started muting people on Twitter who are like big in the Destiny community just cuz like people I follow like retweet them or like their stuff. So I keep seeing a bunch of like these hot takes all the time and I'm just like I don't need this in my timeline every day. I just want to play Destiny. I want to enjoy the game, and I don't need you on my timeline every day complaining about trials or complaining about bring back sword skating and things like that. And it's just like I don't need that. Get out of here. Like I'll mess with the memes and stuff like that, but like most of the big content creators in Destiny like I think are some of the worst people in the community because
mm-hmm.
they have Bungie's ear, but they don't represent the community as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the problem, and I hate that stuff. And like that, I'm glad that Bungie doesn't appear to just be taking everything they say as like the word of law, which is good because some communities are like that. Back in the day of like, StarCraft and even Overwatch, for a while, everything got balanced to the high end, to the top tier players, the smallest, group of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want that for Destiny. And, I play with a lot of people who are like that, but like they get it. They play both sides, but like Like every day somebody's talking about the Crucible. Oh, the
Hmm.
Crucible this, the Crucible that.
Your
And it's just like,
camera is shaking, pal.
yeah, I know. I'm moving on my desk.
Okay.
I'm shaking it. Oh my god. I
I was like,
had
"Are
my
you
hands
in
on
an
my desk and
earthquake?"
I was just moving around. No, 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 no. Now that'd be some shit though. Imagine. Um,
I was asking, is like I should be feeling it any second if it's an earthquake. Like, we don't live that far apart.
no, no, nothing like that. Sorry to worry you. Um, but yeah, like I get what you're saying with the community stuff, and like it's harder now with social media, because it's so easy to see, like, because these people get promoted left and right.
My favorite
And
thing
so
like that is, I don't know if you've seen it. I feel like I shot him out every week now, but my friend Neo GameSpark always tweets about, like, so there's this one Xbox fanboy kid who is literally, and I'm not gonna say his name because I don't want to give him any more traffic than
no,
he
don't.
does. But he's like, is this one guy, and he's legitimately a fucking idiot. Like, might be one of the dumbest internet personalities I've ever seen, and
Does it
he's just
start with an H?
popular. No,
Okay,
starts with, it's two letters. It starts with a K, and the second word is a S.
okay. That's not ringing any bells, but that's
Mm.
okay. I don't need
I
to
can send
know.
it to you later.
I don't really need to
But
know.
long story less long, this guy had like Pit Boy. Like, what's the Pit Boy characters? What are they called?
Vault Boys?
The Vault Boy. Yeah, he has a Vault Boy as his avatar, but the jumpsuit is like green and black for like Xbox. And pre Bethesda deal, he was shit talking Bethesda like really bad. Like, nobody plays their games because they had like exclusive content on PlayStation. And he was shit talking them and a bunch of other crazy shit, and just like going in, right? Like, and people have screenshot these, to bring up the receipts as possible. And he was saying he got this because one of his fans made it for him. I guess he like also makes YouTube videos, but I don't know. I just know him for his dumb takes on Twitter. And long story less long, but that's the deal rolls out, and he's like trying to, praise it like it's the biggest thing from God and like all this other shit, the biggest thing since sliced bread. And
Yeah.
people pull the receipts like, huh? I thought Bethesda games are trash. Like, I thought all this other shit, because he was just,
No, I never said that.
he's just on the side of Xbox. I'm
Yeah.
doing it injustice because like I could read it better. Like, I could pull up the tweets and read them, but then I'm giving this guy like more shine, and
Yeah.
I'm not trying to
No.
do that.
I had that happen. I started following, like, I started to kind of follow some
Mm-hmm.
insiders a little bit, and there was this one guy, pretty reputable,
Mm-hmm.
and from what I was aware of, and so I started following him, and every day the dude was just out there like repping the brand.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was just like the biggest, like he, like, in between being like apparently a respected insider, he's just shit posting on, like, PlayStation tweets and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, "Oh my god."
That sounds like this kid.
Like the people who do that, and it's just like the brand doesn't care about you. Microsoft didn't buy Bethesda so you could go out and, post on every PlayStation post of like, "Oh, we got the Elder Scrolls now, fuck you." That's not how that works. That's so stupid. It's like these people really think they're fighting a war, and it's so stupid. And like they're so committed to these brands in
Bro,
in such a toxic way.
what's even funnier than just that? This dude is always talking shit to the most amount of people about everything, namely my friend Neo GameSpark and everything.
Mhm.
But Xbox doesn't fucking give a shit about this guy. My
No.
friend Neo GameSpark got a press Xbox One, a Series X, and everybody was talking shit to got a press Series X, and they didn't give it to him. They just ignored him. So it
Well,
was
no,
like,
because they don't want to support that kind of toxicity.
mm-hmm,
That's the only thing Microsoft cares about, or Sony, or any of them. They don't care about the people who are out there touting the
mm-hmm,
brand like at a toxic level. They only care when it comes to who they're going to support. And then they look at those people and they say, okay, it can't be them.
mm-hmm.
That's the big thing. And
It
that's
was
what people
just
don't.
it's just so funny because he's like, he always praises like Xbox to the moon, and I hate it from East. I'm just using Xbox because this guy's like kind of out of pocket with it,
Yeah.
and he just like has the most like recorded, you know, debacles and like receipts on like him going back on his own word and stuff, being very hypocritical. So it's just funny. I sent you a link to who it was so you could know who it was, and you could just tell by the photo
Oh, was
instantly as
that
soon
you
as you open
texting
it
me?
up.
Okay.
Yeah, that was me who texted you.
Gotcha. That makes sense now. Yeah. Now I'm just curious real quick. I'm going to look.
You gotta look.
Yeah,
You
I've
gotta.
never seen this guy. See, these are the people who get like the followers on Twitter because they've got
Mhm,
the hot takes, but these are exactly the kind of people that Microsoft probably has blocked.
mhm.
Like they don't want to see this guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just funny. It's like it's funny because you see this guy just like doing the most, and they just don't give a fuck. Like, like he has followers, but he doesn't have like a lot at all. Like, and I'm talking shit because I don't have a lot of followers, but it's like I don't know if he thought that was gonna be his out. But yeah, I'm gonna see if I could find a thread because people always love pulling up the threads on this guy whenever he goes back on his word, and I'll see if I can pull up the thread and send it to you. But yeah, man, that type of stuff is so funny to me. It's
It's just
like
so stupid.
laughable. Like,
Like, listen, everybody goes through that phase when they're young, when they're like, hey, I have this
mhm.
console. I'm going to defend the fact that I have it. But like, once you're an adult, you're still doing that. You're still going out there being like, yo, PlayStation's the best. Like, fuck Xbox.
Like
When
I
you're
had a lot
taking
of
that
these.
time out of your day, that's just sad for
Mhm.
you.
Like I had some of these talks in high school, but it was more so that you're trying to convince as many people to be on the same platform as you because you want to play with your
Right.
friends.
No,
And
and
that's
I get
really
that.
it. That's where it
You
comes
want to be
from.
able
But
to borrow games and
when
stuff.
you
You want
carry
everybody to
that
be bought
into
in.
adulthood, you're just sad.
Yeah, no, that's incredibly sad. Like, that's just like, what is your life when you're just out here defending $1 trillion company on Twitter? What are
That
you
literally
gaining?
gives no shit about you.
Who actively dislikes you for doing what you're doing because you're going against everything that their code of conduct stands for.
Mm-hmm.
Everything those people do, these console warriors. Like today, I'm scrolling through some stuff and I see like, Xbox is going to win the console war. And this is coming from like a website,
Mm-hmm.
like an article that was written. And I'm like, you lost all your credibility when you called it a console war.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
it's not a war.
I even
It's not what
understand
it
that
is.
more because it's like that's more, preying on like the consumer and the clickbaity stuff. The guys on Twitter are literally doing it for nothing. They're not
No, but
even monetizing it.
that's literally doing it to draw
Mhm,
in like the PlayStation fans who are going to get
mhm,
angry, who are going to click on the site and comment, that are going to leave the
mhm.
hate because that's traffic to them. They're going
Yeah,
to spread it among their
I'm
circles. Yo,
saying
look at this
I could
shit
even
ass site.
I could even get that more than I can get the guys on Twitter because the guys on Twitter aren't doing like
They're
they're
both
not.
stupid.
No, I'm saying they are, but I'm saying
I
the
know,
guys
yeah.
on
No, I
Twitter are
get
so like just another level of stupid that I can't fathom.
it.
Because
It's all
even at
stupid.
least the website, the reason for doing it is the traffic. That's the incentive. The incentive on Twitter, like you get traffic, but it's not good traffic. You get legitimately 10 to 1 people who think you're idiot to one person is like, yo, I love Xbox. You know what I mean? And literally of those people is maybe like a few people who are on your bullshit, but for the most part, never. It's always like I found the links right now. I'm gonna send it to you. It's a thread.
Oh God. Are you texting again?
Yes, I'm going to text it to you. But yeah, it's a
So
really funny thread.
anybody who listens to this podcast, don't be like that. Don't
Mhm.
don't be a little console warrior. You're not proving anything to anyone.
Like
Nobody's
he's
impressed. It's nobody's impressed by this.
so these are all from 2018. I mostly avoid Bethesda games. Fallout 76 and Bethesda are trash. And like there was more. I think he started blocking them. Oh damn. Cuz this thread was longer.
Apparently he deleted the tweets too.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. It's just like,
Oh,
what are
here we
you
go.
doing?
Here's another one, which is funny because people were going in on this guy. Here, there you go. There you go, pal.
Let's see this. This plays really well on the.
Yeah, that's my bad.
No, it's fine.
Bethesda sucks. Why do people still buy their trash games from November 15th? That's not trying to read them.
Yeah, it's. Yo, this dude's an idiot. I don't even want to look at his Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is just the dumbest kind of toxicity. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
defending something that like you literally have no stake in, other than to be like because you're using it to define you, and that's just so sad that your Xbox defines who you are.
Mm-hmm. It's
how
even
how
more
fucking
sad.
sad is that?
Like as a kid, I can understand, but it's even more sad when you're a grown ass fucking man. Like you're a grown ass fucking adult doing this.
Yeah, like I'm sitting here playing with my hair. The video is just gonna be like, he just doesn't stop fidgeting. I'm surprised. I can't get it to. My hair is too fucking long for what I'm used to. My hair tries to curl when it gets so long, and so like it's awful. I hate it. I need to get it cut. Anybody watching the video, I'm just waiting for them to be like, why does he fidget so damn much? He just keeps touching his face and his hair. What is he doing?
Also, just a quick scroll on his Twitter, you could see him super hype about the Bethesda acquisition and talking about it like it's the best thing ever. But it was like, yo, 3 years ago, this was legitimately the exact opposite of what you were saying. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying people can't change their mind, but you're not going to be excited about the games that came out 3 years ago.
And it's not even a matter of changing your mind. It's pretending that that was always your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretending that that's how you always were. It's like it's just like 1984, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We're at war with Eurasia. We've always been at war with Eurasia. No, we're at war with East Asia. It's always been East Asia. Come on, people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally that. It's just changing the narrative to fit, or changing the facts to fit your narrative. It's so stupid. And it's like, what a stupid thing to do it over. It's a box. It sits here. It just sits here and does nothing except like play some games
Okay.
in Netflix. Like what is this doing for you that like you feel like you have to defend it?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Microsoft's a
Like,
big company. They don't need your help. They don't want it either.
like I don't know what Xbox did they get. Did their Xbox give them a handy or something? Because I just don't see why they have this unconditional love for pieces like nothing that they paid for. Like I don't understand. Maybe I'd even understand if you got it for free or there was like some incentive to do it, but there's literally none.
There's
Brands,
nothing.
like you said, don't like this. So you're doing this to be disliked by the brands and
Like
like
that's the
what?
thing.
Just
The
gain an echo
brand,
chamber?
they're trying to get noticed, but the only thing they're getting is blocked. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's so ridiculous that like they do this, and then like, you know, they're the same people who, when they get passed up for like, you know, a big press thing, they're just like, yo man, I'm out here fighting for the brand. I'm out here supporting the brand, you know? I'm out here being a warrior. I'm putting the PlayStations down. What do I got to do to get a free Xbox? Shut your mouth. And you're not going to get a free Xbox either way, but like, just shut your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
It's so dumb. I hate it. Especially because, like, you know, there's nothing to really like even fight about right now. You know, it's just like there's nothing really going on yet. It's still really early.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, we got a lot of news later that is exciting, but we're getting really excited about a lot of games that are relatively old at this point. You know, like I'm waiting to get excited about new games. You know when it'll be
Mm-hmm.
worth debating how quality these consoles are,
Mm-hmm.
once we start getting games that can only be played on these
Well, I
consoles,
was
you
gonna
know,
say
not just the medium and not
you,
just,
me,
you know,
and Ross all have this sitting in our room now. You know what? I'm happy I have it, but
same.
guess what? It legitimately does nothing for me,
Yeah, no.
but sit here and look pretty. and I brag about it. But
I
like,
gotta boot my Xbox back up at some
mhm.
point.
But legitimately, there are 0 games that are justify me buying this console.
I realized the other day I still haven't finished Demon Souls.
Mm-hmm.
I still need to.
Demon
I
Souls
still
is
need to
cool,
finish that.
but I'm not buying that game again.
No, I'm
Like,
not telling you to buy it. I'm just
no,
saying like
I'm not saying to you.
that's why I bought it, and I still haven't finished
I
it.
have that argument with other people, like, oh, you have Demon Souls, and I'm like, you get Demon Souls. And I'm like, well, one, that's not a game for me. Two, I already have that game. I'm not buying it again. I was like, I have Spider-Man and I have 2K. I'm not getting Cold War, and the only other game that interests me is Devil May Cry, which I might buy for PlayStation just because it's available. But there's
Yeah.
legitimately nothing else. I mean, I might be overlooking something. The only thing that's on the horizon right now is Resident Evil.
Come on, man. Godfall.
Well, that was it, guys. It's been fun. Tune in next week.
Everybody forgets about Godfall till it's inconvenient.
It wasn't inconvenient. I'm not playing that. Sometimes
No,
you just
no,
gotta
no.
know.
I know. No, I'm not telling you to play it. That was the joke. It's inconvenient when you have to remember it.
There's legitimately
Godfall is just
nothing.
like the most okay at best game.
There's literally nothing I'm gonna waste money on. Like I am definitely the prime subject, especially because not for nothing, we got the stimulus. I have plenty of money to waste right now, and nothing has driven me to waste it
Yeah.
on the PlayStation front wise, at least. And I feel like that's bad. But I understand that a lot of stuff that was in the pipeline are probably delayed due to coronavirus and everything.
Well, that and with the superconductor shortage, how much are they really going to throw at the console at this point? And that goes for both of them. How much are they really going to throw at these new consoles when they can't sell enough of them to people?
Mm-hmm.
I will say, out of the three, like out of like the three consoles, the PS5, regardless of version, the Series X and the Series S, the Series S is consistently in stock. Like this thing
Mm-hmm.
is in the grand scheme of things, the Series S is very easy to buy,
Mm-hmm.
and that's impressive. And I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on it. Like granted, I've only had mine for a little bit and I haven't used it as much as I probably should even still, but like this thing is totally capable. And like if you just want like if you're just looking for the brand new console, you just want to play the brand new games,
Mm-hmm.
Series S is totally fine at $299. Maybe
I
2 or
was
3
thinking
years from
about
now you
buying one
upgrade, but
today, but I was like, nah, I'm not gonna buy one. It doesn't make sense for me to buy one.
I just want to
It
play
doesn't make
like
sense
some
for
of
me
my
to
old stuff.
buy. It doesn't make sense for me to buy a what you call it either, the Series X, because I'm like, most of these games are coming out for PC.
Yeah, no, I get you. Like, and that's why I bought the Series S, because I wanted to have an Xbox so
Mm-hmm.
I could play like Lost Odyssey and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have a lot of old digital games like Geometry Wars 2, wanted to play that. And want to be able to play some Game Pass stuff that's only on console. And the
Mm-hmm.
thing is just like, I can't justify a Series X. I'm not going to use it like that. I'm going to use my PlayStation 5. So then I really thought about it and I was like, you know what? I could just play this shit on a Series S. And like now I'm looking at it because I remember they were talking about emulation being really good on the Series S. And I'm out here like, yo, can I get Metroid Prime running on this thing?
Because yeah, I'm looking at the list of games and there's like nothing I actually care about that I could buy right now. Nothing
Yeah.
at all. It's it depends because like I could buy an Xbox, but I'm gonna spend $500 on a Series S or X for what, to sit here and buy a game that I would rather play on PC.
But that's exactly why you wouldn't buy the X.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Microsoft kind of gets that. And I'm seeing more of their vision now, because
Mm-hmm.
originally I pictured, and I imagine that this is still the main focus. The Series S is for people who want to get the next console but don't want to break the bank to do it. $300 is a good entry point. $300 was also a good enough entry point that me, as someone who does not need an Xbox by any stretch, looked at it and said, well, you know what? I still have a lot of old games that I want to play and
Mm-hmm.
can play on that box perfectly fine. And so someone like me bought one because I don't need an Xbox. I just
Mhm.
kind of want to have one.
I do as well, but here's the reason why I couldn't justify it, because I didn't play last generation like very much on Xbox One, and all of my digital purchases from 360 were through Microsoft points, because at that point I didn't have a credit card or anything. So they're not linked to my account. So whenever I try to re-download anything I
Wait, what
bought
do you mean they're not
digitally,
linked to your account?
there's something weird where anything you buy with anything you bought with Microsoft points, it doesn't track it for whatever reason.
I have all my
So
stuff I bought with Microsoft points.
nah, like all the DLC for Fallout 2 for Fable 2 for example. I have all that DLC, but it doesn't show that I own it.
Well, no, but I have games on my Series S that I bought. I
Hmm.
know I bought with Microsoft points because we're talking. I bought these back
For
when it was Blades, dude.
for my
Like,
account, for whatever reason,
yeah, that's
games I
weird.
own that I bought through Microsoft with Microsoft points don't show up on my account.
That's crazy.
And I've had the same account. I've only changed the name from Nat Corp to It's Comic Kid.
That's crazy. Have you ever like talked to Microsoft? I imagine you have.
No, I haven't,
No,
because
well,
I at that point I was like, I don't care. I'm not gonna fight them over this
fair
old shit.
enough.
But yeah, that's
Yeah.
my issue. Because I really want to play Fable. That's really why I was gonna
I
get it
installed
run.
Fable 2. That was one of the
Fable
first
2
games I
is
installed.
the game I want to play, and I want to
And
play
like
all the
that's the thing,
DLC.
that's on Game Pass. So like you can
Hmm.
get, I think, the complete version of that on Game Pass.
Yeah, it's not
No,
on PC though. If it was on PC,
right,
I'd have already been playing it. But
right. No, I get that. Um. Oh yeah, did you see this? Somebody just threw it in the Discord. If you go on to the Square Enix Twitter, and you follow Square Enix and you reply to their tweet with hashtag Square Enix Presents, you will get the two like little Lara Croft games, the Guardian of Light and the Temple of Osiris. They're just
where they
giving
link
them away,
this at?
huh?
Where they link that at?
They linked it in the Random Goodness channel
Random
in the Discord.
goodness.
Um, but yeah, they'll just DM you the codes for those games, which I
I
think is
think I
really
own
cool.
both of these games already. Yeah,
I
unfortunately,
think funny enough,
because
I
I
own them
love
on
free. I
Xbox.
love free stuff, but
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, like that's a cool thing. Everybody should try and do it. I know Square Enix tomorrow has like a big event. We're obviously not going to be able to cover that here. I know they're revealing a new Life is Strange. They're talking about Avengers. So let's see what comes out of that. But
Hmm.
I'm sure we'll talk about that next week if it's worth talking about. We'll see tomorrow. Um, but yeah, as far as like what I've been playing, Loop Hero. Loop Hero is weirdly fun. Like
Hmm.
there's something about that game that I really like, and it's not easy, but it's not like terribly hard either. It's like Loop Hero, I think, is a really cool game. I got to put more time into it. I think last night I played it for the first time. I think I put like an hour and a half into it, something like that. Um, so I'm relatively early in that regard, but I hope to have more on that next week. I also did finally, as promised, I played Bravely Default 2. I booted it up earlier today. I sat down with it for around 2 hours, got through some of the beginning. It's a good game. It's a good game. I'm too early to really have like a judgment on it. I think the voice acting is pretty good. And it's not really what I was expecting. A lot of accents I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, aren't like all the accents like British accents or some shit?
Yeah, except the main character, but I think that works because the main character is from some other land.
Hmm.
Um, it kind of almost sounds like there's a Final Fantasy X thing going on where like the main character, like he didn't recognize the map and he had no clue where he was. So I'm figuring it's going to be something like Final Fantasy X where it's like he's kind of ripped out of time and brought somewhere
Hmm.
else or like another dimension or something. Um, Yeah, like the combat in that game is really cool. I don't know how similar it is. I didn't play Bravely Default or Bravely Second, so I don't know
Mhm.
how similar it is to those games.
I played
But
Bravely Default and Bravely Second,
so like they
but
have like the Brave and like the default
mhm,
mechanics, right?
yeah,
So did you have the thing where you could like stack the Braves and you could like pull against like future turns and do like 4 actions?
I don't remember. I played it. I never owned the game. I played it because my friend Christian is in love with those games, who used to live here. I played it when he had it because he was like, "Oh, you got to get these," and I never ended up getting it.
Hmm.
But yeah, I tried to get Octopath Traveler because I thought it was gonna be the same itch, and I fucking hate that game.
It's on Game Pass
See that? I mean,
tomorrow.
I
We'll
would
talk
give
about
that
that
game
later.
away everywhere I could too because it's bad.
Uh, I just when Nat hates a game, I don't think anybody conveys it better than he does. When he just really doesn't like a game, he just like it's bad and he just like makes it like I don't even want to try. Like I was thinking about trying it and he's just like, "Nah, it's bad. They should be giving it away." And I'm just like, "Maybe I shouldn't play this
Hey man,
game."
I'll send you my Switch cartridge if you want. You could try
No,
it at
it's
your
on Game Pass
convenience.
on PC tomorrow,
Hmm.
so I'm going to play it there.
Yeah, and you could have it on Switch too.
I don't need it on Switch. I'll
You
have it
sure?
on PC.
I
I'm
can send it to
positive.
you. I can send it to
No.
you. I'll send it to you with a bag of coffee. I'll take the cartridge out and throw it in the coffee beans like a Cracker Jack prize.
So one day I'm just gonna make a cup of coffee, take a sip, and I'm gonna be like, "Oh,
No, it's gonna taste
it's coffee
disgusting because
bad."
all the Switch cartridges taste bad. So you know it ended up in there when your cup of coffee
Wasn't
tastes
it
bad.
just the early ones that tasted really
No, all
bad?
of them taste bad.
Because I've tried some and they don't taste like anything.
Non-Nintendo ones, they kind of lack on the disgustingness of it. Like they taste kind of like bitter, but like the original Nintendo ones taste like really bitter, like they're concentrated like harder.
Hmm,
But they still do taste not good.
fair enough.
The last game I
Um,
tried that I bought definitely didn't taste good. I mean, I haven't bought a game in a while for my Switch, but like a physical game that
yeah,
is.
I have played more Switch this year, probably. Yeah, definitely
This year or
already
last year?
than I did last year.
Okay.
No, I've already played more Switch this year.
Mm-hmm.
I had that one really good stretch with Fire Emblem where I played my
Mm-hmm.
Switch all the time, and then it just kind of collected dust for a little bit. I played like Tokyo Mirage Sessions for a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
like I finished that Mario game. I'm playing Bravely Default 2. I plan to keep playing it. It's a good game. It's a very old school JRPG, and I'm kind of looking forward to playing one of those.
Mm-hmm.
I just gotta kind of get a better feel for the mechanics a little bit. But the one thing I don't like in that game is like this is gonna sound really stupid. So like you know how in Zelda you can like cut the grass and get like rupees and stuff like that. You can cut the grass in Bravely Default too, and they'll drop items.
Mm-hmm.
But like there's so much fucking grass. And I could just spend the whole time cutting the grass. And I'm getting like the FOMO of like if I don't cut the grass, there could be items. And then like there's a little patch of grass and I'm like I should be going, but then I'm like but what if there's an item in that? And then there was one time. And that's all it took.
Confirmation bias.
One time I did it, like the first 2 or 3 times I did it, it didn't do anything. Then I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna try this. The last time I'm gonna try this. Cut the one, dropped an item. And I was just like, fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Get me a lawnmower. Like, I hate that. I
I
don't want
think
to
I
cut the
think
grass.
stronger weapons in that game do cut more grass.
Well, that'll be nice.
That's
I
something I
just
remember. It's like, yeah, stronger weapons you get, they might cut more grass or whatever. So,
like it's cool that it's a thing, but I hate it.
mm-hmm.
Thanks, I hate it.
Yeah, man.
Ugh. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, I don't think I played Apex at all this week, and I played a little bit of Destiny, but nothing crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we did have another good session in Divinity yesterday. Um, a lot of dying yesterday. We started really feeling ourselves. We started playing, I think, a little reckless, but like we made it out.
Everybody died at least once yesterday.
Did Ross die?
Yes, he did.
No.
I
I
think Ross
don't
did
think he
die.
died.
I think we loaded it, but Ross did. Ross died to the witch, the fire witch.
Oh, well, that didn't count.
No, I'm saying we all died. I'm not saying it
Okay,
counts or not. I'm
yes.
saying
Yeah,
we all
okay.
died at
We did
least.
all die. Yes, yes, he did die to that witch, but I also died to that witch.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that witch.
I died in
Uh,
that stupid gate battle for no reason because I didn't realize there were enemies over there and looped them into the battle.
so you didn't know because you were gone at the time getting food. I got out of the battle
Mm-hmm.
and I went in to revive you, and I got you up,
I
and then
realized I
you got.
died again because I seen that it was like I was placed weirdly.
I was hoping you wouldn't notice, but I was like, I'm going to tell him anyway. But yeah, so I revived you back there, and then the archer just turned around and was like, bop,
Mm-hmm.
just immediately.
That was all good. I
Just like
realized.
what what the void thing did to me.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as it could, it's just like.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to see if we could save that guy. I think maybe we should go back. I think that guy who gave us the quest, like outside of the village with the witch lady, right? That guy, he
Riker?
has. I don't know what his name is, but he has teleportation gloves, and maybe one of us stands outside of the battle and teleports him away, and then
Well,
slowly.
don't one of us know teleportation?
Some of us know. I don't know if one of us knows teleportation like as a spell. It might be Cypher, but Cypher hasn't said anything about it. Because when he said he was gonna die, I thought that to myself, and I was like, I feel like he would have done it already, so I didn't say anything. But
You know what? Yeah. See, the thing is that sucks is like what we should do is like put him to sleep or something, but we can't as long as he has magic armor. Um, I wish there was a way we could just kind of block him in. I think what we need to do is we need to not draw everything into him
mm-hmm.
because I think they're after us,
Yeah,
not him. So we need to like kill the magisters and then just book it and just get
mm-hmm.
away from him. And then we just need to be like, we need to group up and just like take him down.
Mm-hmm.
Like what we should do is we should have like, Tony and Ross be up there. And then me and you should stay down and try and draw them to us.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like what we were doing towards the end there. And then basically have them fall back to us while we kind of push out and around.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We'll find out Tuesday. But dude, every time we play this game, I kind of want to play Baldur's Gate 3. Like every time we do play this, I'm like, man, me,
I'll
you,
buy it right now.
Tony,
Stop playing with me. I'll buy it right now.
don't tempt me.
I'll stimmy it. Government stimulated my bank account. I'll stimulate Steam.
I'm just I'm just thinking like me, you, Tony, we all get it, and then we get a fourth who can play more than once a week. And we play Baldur's Gate. I don't know if that ends up being Will. I don't know if that ends up being Uber. But we get one more person. And we just play that like anytime we want now.
I'll buy it right now.
After the show. After the show. I want to know if we have a solid fourth. I don't want to buy it until I know we have
anyway.
four.
I bought it already. It's bought, purchased.
I mean, shit, yeah. I want to play more of like Divinity and stuff, but I can't because we have that thing going.
Mm-hmm.
And Baldur's Gate 3 seems like the next best game to scratch that itch, short of going back to like the first Divinity.
Mm-hmm. It has been purchased. I should get an email notification anytime now.
We have to talk to some people after this and figure out what our team will be. I believed you. I didn't doubt you for a second. I know you want that game.
Purchased it. Already purchased. Boom.
Boom, indeed. So I pulled a bunch of news. A lot of game companies are getting out there and
Newsy
talking
news?
about, huh?
Newsy news?
Well, it's a little bit of not newsy, but like, so do we want to talk about some real shit here?
Depends. If we're gonna talk about real shit, we should start off with the realest thing. Whereas if you kill 8 Asian women in a massage parlor, you're racist. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
But Nat,
You're a domestic terrorist. You're a homegrown terrorist.
but Nat,
And what's up?
he was having a bad day.
That guy also has been outed for having no racist remarks beforehand
So we're on the
and
same
wearing a
page here.
T-shirt that says.
Yeah. Everybody is getting ahead of this,
Mhm,
and this is just it's just crazy. I feel like in the last year, 2 years, this country specifically has been so heavy in the last 4 years, let's say, prior
mhm,
to this country has been maybe a decade. God, it's so sad when you think about it. This country has been exposed.
mhm.
The United States has been
I
exposed as
feel
an
like
intolerant country.
I feel
We are
like
a nation of bigots,
mhm.
racists, and just all around hateful people.
I feel like during Clinton, like after Clinton and George W. Bush, a lot of people were trying their best to hide the fact that America was very racist, and they maybe did a good job of lulling, Central America into thinking that racism doesn't exist anymore. Of course, they deleted it, but so I want to say one thing also. NBC News tweeted earlier, and it was their verified account. They deleted the tweet because I'm looking at a response of it right now that I liked, where they was like, "How can black people and minorities help Asians feel welcome?" Or it was like something to protect them during these trying times, and it was like, so only black people, huh? It was like, it was just
Oh,
weird.
so
It
it
was
was like an article or something like
Yeah, it was like an
how
article on NBC News of how black people could help, and it was like, so you're good.
just shift it away. Get it
You
away
took
from the white people conversation.
you took the most notable disenfranchised community in this, and no, this is not a race to be the most discriminated against. And then you was like, oh, look at the other people again bad. Let's tell them how they should be helping them. And it was like, so you took your time to write this article instead of correcting in your original article that this guy is definitely a domestic terrorist, and admittedly that he was able to turn himself in without being killed. And if that was anybody, like any other race, he would have literally gotten killed before he could walk to the police station.
And that the very law enforcement officials who would bring him in safely would seemingly giving them the biggest, this is the largest benefit of the doubt I can personally give.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least, vaguely defending his actions by saying, well, it was motivation stemming from sexual addiction, not racism. It wasn't a racist thing. He's just having a bad day.
I'm
He's
not.
just having a really bad day, and this is what he did. If your bad day results in 8 people being dead
That's what
as
I
a
was gonna go
direct
with that.
result of you, you're fucked up.
But that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say I'm not saying his sexual addiction didn't have anything to do with it, but you could be addicted to a lot of things, and if that results in you harming somebody else, it's a problem. And if your addiction results in you harming, and like it would be a problem no matter
Even if it's
what.
not killing, if it's
Yes,
just causing
that's what I said.
harm to
Harm.
somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it.
If your addiction causes you to harm just Asian people, that's not your addiction's fault. You're racist.
Yeah, if you're like, hey, I'm having a bad day, it's time to get those people, insert demographic. Well, guess what?
I'm not saying it didn't contribute to it, but I'm also saying you're racist. Surprise! Didn't know if you knew this.
Congratulations, you're racist.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's
and the thing is, if it was any other person of color, if it was any
Mhm.
other ethnicity who had perpetrated this, they'd be dead. They'd be villainized. They would, no one would give them the benefit of the doubt.
Mhm.
You know, it would just be, oh, person went on a rampage. Like
as as a minority, I don't know if you guys could tell, as a minority, uh, here's the thing that's most offending and damning to me is the lack there of terrorists. The lack their use of terrorists, like the the the
Because
hesitancy in sources using the word terrorist for this guy who's domestically grown and has done just as heinous things as most of the past terrorist events in the past like 5 years in America.
it's
He's
because the
done,
majority of domestic terrorists are white.
yeah.
The vast
Hmm.
majority of them are white.
But
And
that's
you
the thing.
don't want to look in the mirror and see a domestic terrorist. It's much easier when it's someone else,
But
when you
it's
can't
it's
identify with them.
it's crazy because it would be a thing like, so I can understand America being racist. Let me say that. I can understand America being racist. It's just no consistency in how they go about doing this, you know what I mean? Because it's like um for example, like with the Boston bombing, for example, those guys instantly as soon as they found out they was of Middle Eastern descent, terrorist.
Yep.
But you ignore the fact that they were grown up here their whole life.
Doesn't matter.
But the other example is like, so I've been listening to a podcast dating back, like talking about the DC sniper.
Hmm.
And they were very quick once they were hesitant to say anything who was doing anything because they didn't want to leak information. But as soon as they found out it was a black guy and a Jamaican guy, instantly terrorist. And it's just like, it would be like, now I'm gonna say it's fine. It's not fine. It would be more understandable if they were just like, if they were trying to pitch this as terrorists are only grown in the Middle East. But you've literally shown like during like Virginia Tech shooting or whatever, uh the Asian guy who shot people in that, they instantly labeled the terrorist. So you're saying literally only minorities could be a terrorist,
I mean, yeah.
and
Well,
that's the
you know
problem.
what?
It's like,
Uh, uh, To
I
be
can
completely frank,
understand the like even like the racist, but you're trying to like, if you're trying to convince me, oh, white people can't be terrorists, you're like,
so that's the thing. And obviously, I just want to make it
mhm,
completely clear that I don't think this way,
mm,
but that's how the majority of white people do think. Is like, in a
mhm,
country that has been systemically favorable to white people,
mhm,
that's a fact. You know, it's it's easier to do that because again, it's someone. Okay, well, they're a terrorist, but when a white person does it, well, hold on, we white people, we don't do that.
mhm.
That's not us.
Well,
They're
it's
the
even
terrorists. That's not us. No,
it's
something's up here. Yeah.
it's even in the way they approach it, because there's like I don't have all the sources in front of me right now, but it's like very easy to find. You could see stories of like women from here, right? Like women from Kansas or Missouri, right? Or guys from Albuquerque going to the Middle East and joining extremist groups, joining terrorist groups. But when you see documentaries on those guys, it's always about how did somebody fall into this trap. When you
Yep.
see people from war torn countries, which seemingly should be easier to understand how they would fall into a life of extremism, there's never that same sympathy. There's never that, how is these innocent people ended up in this life of extremism. It's just baffling the way your skin could get you some empathy. You know what I mean?
I mean, but
And there's no consistency with it. Like, it's the only
and it's the same
consistency if it's white is right, is anything else is not.
and it's the same shit, when you go to like the UK and stuff like
Hmm.
that. It's just like maybe it's just in our roots, our British roots.
Hmm.
And I'm not trying to throw them needlessly under the bus for something that they didn't have any part of
Nah, but
today.
fuck them.
But like it's the truth though. The
I
white
mean, even with the
culture
Meghan Markle thing, you could see it. It's not exclusive to America.
for hundreds of years, for centuries,
Hmm.
white culture has been trying to dominate the world.
Hmm.
That's a fact. The British Empire, even the Romans to an extent, it's white culture trying to dictate global power, and the sad thing is that it's still a thing today in an age where we're supposed to be enlightened, in an age where we're supposed to be smarter, have access to knowledge easier than ever, and we
Hmm.
keep making the same mistakes and we keep letting these same things happen. And like, it's almost like they forget that there's a record of this now that people can look at and they're going to remember this forever.
Mm-hmm.
There's more evidence than ever of, just you're if you ain't white, fuck you is basically how it is. That's how this country is. That's how a good chunk of the world is, unfortunately. And it's just so stupid. It's like what did we do to possibly earn this, other than do all the things we've done? And it's just like, you know, eh, it's so
Like,
stupid, and
mhm.
it's hard to talk about for me because, being, you know, the complexion that I am.
Well,
But
well,
like,
no. So I would say also as a minority, I really appreciate my friends who, because not for nothing, it would be way easier for you just to turn a blind eye to everything. For you to take the time out of your day and to just admit that you not only have you probably benefited from this, but you can understand how, because that's the problem. I feel like people thinking that like, oh, as a minority, we want people to jump out the window and protect black people. We just want people to admit the wrong that's here. You know what I mean? We're not telling you to pay for our lawyer fees or anything. People are saying, hey, this is wrong. Why is everybody looking at us crazy like this isn't wrong?
well, there's too many people who already look away. There's too many
Mm-hmm.
people who will just, it doesn't affect them, and so they ignore it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to use this as a justification. This is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I grew up around, my friends growing up were black. They were people of color. Every morning at school, I would hang out. It was me, it was two black dudes and a guy from Trinidad. And every day at school, the four of us were together, and people just knew. They just knew it would be the four of us in the same spot every day because we were friends, and
Mm-hmm.
they just knew. Oh, yep, that's that group.
But that's what I try to tell people is at the end of the day, you're never going to truly understand what. I'm not going to say I have had the biggest struggle, but I've had plenty of incidents where I've run into like situations solely based on my race. But what I'm saying is you're never going to truly understand. We're not asking people to understand what's happening. All people are asking for is some empathy, to treat people with a little respect. When you see somebody on TV and their house burned down, you look and you're like, wow, if my house burned down, I would feel pretty sad. And that's all people are. I just feel like that's all people want. They're not asking for understanding as much as they're asking for empathy. Because you can never truly understand the plight of somebody else. Even if, Chris, we were next door neighbors, let's say we were both white or we were both black or whatever, right? And we grew up in the same situation, your house evidently is going to be different than mine.
Yeah,
Solely for the fact
I
of the
lived
choices we
that.
make. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can never truly understand what's going on, but you can empathize. You know what I mean? And that's all people are asking for. I feel like people act like it's this big mountain to climb, and it's not that hard. It's simple. Would I feel good if somebody treated me like that? No. So I probably shouldn't do that.
Well, like, and that's the thing is, like, growing up, when I one of my oldest friends, I've known
Mm-hmm.
him for Zane. I've known
Mm-hmm.
him since I was 5 and he was 4. And growing up, it wasn't until, I didn't think anything of it, until one day somebody pointed out that, like, oh yeah, he's a black guy, and that, my child brain clicked, and I was like, huh, that's the thing is, like, you're not born thinking we're different.
But
It's
I was
just
gonna say
it's
also,
just another person.
you were raised not to look at it as like, oh, that's a black guy. You know what I mean? And that
Yeah.
helps. You know what I mean?
But that's the
And
thing, and, like, that's why, like, my
mm-hmm.
friends, they were great friends, and it's like, it wasn't because of what they were, it was just we were good friends,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the thing is, like, you don't, I didn't pick them out because, like, oh yeah, I want to have, like, these specific people as my friends. It's just we became friends,
Mm-hmm.
a group like that doesn't happen because, like, you pick it, or you have an agenda. It just, like, it fucking
Mm-hmm.
happens, and, like, they were some of the best friends I ever had, you know and it's just like, to see people devalue them, because of that. And it's like, I would never do that
Mm-hmm.
because, like, they're my friends. They're my family. At Zane's wedding, like, his aunts, I danced with his aunts. We talked, and, like, they consider me part of the family, and, like, that's incredible. Like, they
Mm-hmm.
talk to me like I'm part of I'm a part of them. And like that's so incredible.
Because like
And
I
I
feel
won't
like
have anybody devalue them because
Mhm.
they're important to me because they're good people.
I feel like people don't understand that half of your family is blood related, half of your family is based on the bonds you create in life. Like, and there are plenty of people you met that you didn't think were worth the time, but they're the people you meet along your journey. And you're like, wow, I like this guy for whatever reason. It could be the most important of values, like this guy saved me from a car accident, or it could be the dumbest thing, like, oh, that guy gave me a pencil on Tuesday. Like, you know what I mean? But for whatever reason, you've made this bond, and these bonds, be it as small as where they start, but they end up being lifelong friendships. Like some of my longest friends, like JP and Raymond. Me and Raymond was friends. Me and Raymond started being friends strictly because we were in class together and we like video games, and we were like very similar types of people. Me and JP were friends. Me and JP weren't in the same class in 6th grade. And people said, oh, me and JP have to fight. Surprise. JP has the same name as me. JP's named Nathaniel. I'm named Nathaniel. And they said me and him have to fight. So I walked up to him in 6th grade and told him we were best friends because people were saying we have to fight because we have the same name. And I was like, no, we're best friends. And he took that to heart. And when we were in the class together for the first time in 7th grade, this kid named Javante was throwing textbooks at me for who knows why. He was throwing textbooks at me, and JP got really mad about it for some reason and beat this kid up because he was like, that's my best friend. And I didn't take it seriously, and I was like, oh shit, I got to take this friendship more seriously because he beat that guy up.
Yeah,
And
no,
that's why we were friends. But I'm saying that's such a stupid reason, right?
well, I mean, and you know what
But we
too?
have a
Like,
lifelong friendship now. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, and that's the thing. But like, you know, you want to get even a little weird. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
guys like Will, like Tony, Cipher.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they are of Asian descent.
Mm-hmm.
I met them exclusively through Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Tony I met because we watched a mutual streamer, and then he kind of just started watching me. Will I met just because I was streaming Gods and Kings when it came out, the Civ 5
Yeah.
expansion. And he
Mm-hmm.
just stuck around, and they're two of my best friends right now, you know?
I would say even
I'll be honest, I
even
haven't met
our
either of
friendship,
them. Huh?
even our friendship, our
Shit.
friendship is
Our
so weird.
friendship.
So like, look, the reason I met you is because I met Malik, and the
Yep.
reason I met you is because Malik knew Mark.
Yep.
So that's crazy to think that like I don't talk to Mark much, and you don't talk to Malik much, but
Yep.
we became friends. And the
Yep.
only reasons I
And
became
we
friends
talk
with
all the time.
Malik is because I went to the Vita store completely by. There was a Vita pop up where they were giving away Vitas for like stupid reasons, and it was this lounge before the Vita came out. I was there for like 6 months before the Vita came out. It was on Livingston Street in LES, Manhattan, Lower East Side, and there was a bike shop across the street. And I went to that bike shop because I was thinking about buying a bike. And I realized the bikes there were $3,000.
Oh,
So I
Jesus.
bought a hat and walked out the store
Bought a
and was
hat.
like, fuck that place. But I was always weird because like growing up, like you would walk into these stores, right? And people would always discriminate against you. So I always felt the chip on my shoulder that I need to buy something so people don't just think I was in there like scheming to steal
For
stuff.
what it's worth, I feel that way sometimes too. I'm like, I got to
Mhm.
get something. Like, I don't
So
want to. I don't.
mhm.
I have money. Come on.
Yeah, so I bought a hat. You know what I mean? Like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm definitely coming back to buy this $4,000 bike. Fuck out of
Yeah.
here.
No, I gotta get paid on Friday. I'll be
Mhm.
back.
But yeah, that's when I was like into BMX bikes and stuff, and I really wanted to buy. I can't even remember the bike now. That's how funny it is. And I went to the Vita place, and I didn't even meet Malik that day, but I only went there by accident. And then I told JP and everybody, oh, this place is here. We should go and hang out. And we would go there and hang out because it was like a 30-minute walk across a
Mhm.
bridge from our college. And we would go there, hang out, and Malik was there. And Malik was doing like some press events for Sony and stuff because he made Uncharted rap back in the day. And he was there, and we had became friends, and then we had started hanging out, and then so we had like went to PAX with Malik, and he had got us in because he was working an event at PAX, and then we had met.
Yeah, he was
So
working
think
the
of
Far Cry.
how many
He was
things.
working the Far Cry booth that year. I
Mhm.
remember that because
Think of how many things could have went astray there, and we would have never met.
I know. And the thing is, the funny thing is like after that, like we kind of became like quiet friends. Like we were friends on
Mhm.
Facebook and stuff. And then I think it was at one point you were talking about going back to PAX, and I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna be there again."
Mhm.
And like you were like, "Hey," like we were both like, "Yo, let's meet up at PAX. Let's hang
Mhm.
out." And that's when we actually became like, it wasn't that first PAX. Like we were aware of
Mhm.
each other and we were like, "Okay, yeah, they're cool." But then it was the second PAX, and it was that time because I drove to that PAX, so I had my car. I'm like, "Yo, like you're taking the bus?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, I can pick you up. I'm gonna have my car." And he's like, "Dope, yeah. I'm not gonna tell my friends."
No, it wasn't even I wasn't gonna tell them. I didn't tell them, and then you pulled up on the side of the road, and I got in the car, and there's like, "What are you doing?" And I was just like, "Get in,"
And
and they
then
all proceeded to get in.
they get in the back. They're like, "You're not gonna do anything to us." I'm like, "Nah, nah, I'm cool." And then they get in, they close the door. I lock the doors and drive away. I'm like, "You fucked up now." And that's like, yeah,
I'm like, I'm like 10 years of friendship, all for this moment to sell
yeah,
you,
that's
to
what he
sell your
said.
organs.
10 years of friendship for this moment. And like, and they're just sitting in the back. They're like, "Oh shit." These dudes I've never met before. And Nat, like, I tell you, like, Nat and I hadn't really talked all that much. And like, we just, from that point on, we just clicked. And
Mhm.
like, that was it. That was just that trust where he was just like, "Yo, like, I'm gonna do this. Just roll with it." I'm like, "Let's do this."
That PAX is low key why I know a lot of the first PAX is low key why I know a lot of the people that I ended up becoming friends with, like long term. It's you know what even crazier story? My friend Christian, who came to live here with me, I met him because of that PAX inadvertently because I was in like I don't know if you remember there was a YouTube channel, a big YouTube channel called The Creatures back
I'm
in the
not
day.
familiar. No.
Doesn't matter. They were like machinima guys and stuff.
Okay.
And I was in their video because like I got in a pack, I couldn't find them, and I was like, this is my only day here. I need to find these guys. I was really big fans of them. I watched all their stuff and I found them and I was like, yo, I was just really excited because I was looking for them no shit like 3 hours. I was like, I have to leave soon. I want to find these guys before I leave. And I thought they had left, and I was like, this is my only day out here. I'm gonna pop in and find them. And I finally had found them. So I was like an added level of extra excited. And I didn't realize they were filming. So they filmed this and they put this video out. And then a lot of people in those videos was like, who was that guy? He was the best because everybody else was super awkward. And I was just like, yo, what's up? Like, and I made friends with my friend Jamal, who then introduced me to Neo GameSpark, which is why I have a PS5. I made friends with some other people. So I made like, this is a weird line. I made friends with this one kid who invited me to his Minecraft server. And on that Minecraft server, I made friends with another kid who was friends with another person I went to his Minecraft server. And that's where I met Christian, who I'm now friends with my friend Val and Pebbles, who was playing Overwatch with yesterday, and a bunch of people I know because I was friends with Christian. And we started doing 8-bit drum stuff together. And then he had came and lived out here when he lived in New York for a bit. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
think of how little, like minuscule that is, like any step of the way.
Yeah, and I mean, shit. If you want to talk
Mm-hmm.
crazy, remember I met Ross on Xbox Live through a friend of his,
Yeah.
and he hated me for 6 months. He didn't even talk to me because I
Mm-hmm.
kicked him off a tower in Crackdown. He could have just chosen to be done with me at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never talking to that guy again. I don't like him. Whatever. And then a couple years later, I'm a groomsman in his wedding.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying
Like
it's
that's
so
so
weird.
much of this shit is crazy. But that's getting back to the point of
Mm-hmm.
how we got on this topic. You can't take anyone for granted.
But
You
that's what I'm
never
saying. You
know.
never know who. But that's what I'm trying to say. I'm like, there's so many crazy situations like that, and I don't think these types of stories are uncommon, especially nowadays. And I'm just saying, it's so befuddling to me because by being racist, you're limiting yourself possibly to the best friends you could ever meet in your life.
Yeah.
No
Like
bullshit. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't tell him all the time, but like Zane is like honest to
mm-hmm,
God one of the best friends like a
mm-hmm,
person could ever have. And the fact that
mm-hmm,
like, he still like he works so many hours, he's military, he's
mm-hmm,
corrections, he does all this stuff. And the fact that like he still takes the time out of his day to call and just be like, "Hey, I haven't heard from you in a while. How's it going, man?"
mm-hmm.
You know? Like let's catch up sometime. Let's just hang out. Or like gets on and just keeps inviting me to games, even though I'm doing something. He just keeps inviting me to games.
I
And
know.
I'm like, I fucking hate this guy, but I love him. And so I go and play with him because
Mhm.
fuck,
I was gonna say
it's
even
just
like,
shit like that. And like
mhm.
I couldn't imagine not like having him around.
I was gonna say, well, think about that. Is like I'm friends now because of your random encounters. I'm friends now with Tony and Will and other Tony and TJ and all these other people
And
that,
kind of Zane. He knows who you
yeah,
are. When Zane comes around, he's like, "Oh, hey, what's up, Nat?" Like he knows who you are. He is more than aware of you. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
and
Like,
that's the thing. It's crazy. Like, we know all these people through all this dumb shit. We know all these people,
just
and
these
like,
random connections that all it took was like, let's say I was a bigot and I was like, nah, fuck that. I don't hang with no white people, and I didn't talk to you then. You know what I mean? Say you was a big and he was like, oh, I'm not hanging out with this weird black guy. Like, you know what I mean? I would say I was definitely way more socially awkward then, you know what I mean?
I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't have the people I have in my
Mm-hmm.
life. Like, I couldn't imagine like if I had been a bigot at any point in my life, I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't imagine where I'd be.
But I was just saying, like even the little things, like because I had got out of gaming for a while, right? And then we were talking randomly for like it was no like I don't even remember what we were talking about. But you were telling me about HalfGen, and I was like, oh yeah, I can help you. I can help you with that. And I'd went back and listened to like the first episode of HalfGen, like because I don't think I was on the first. I think I was like the third or second one.
Yeah, you were on early, but I don't remember which one.
But I wasn't like I just came on. I was like, hey guys, and then we just talked about it, and then like that had like re-sparked it because like we played games before, but we didn't play like consistently. And
Yeah.
then that like you starting HalfGen, I was like, oh, you need some help because I think I had messaged you on Facebook when you were saying, oh, you're starting a new site. I was like, oh yeah, man, you need some help because I was just I was just ending 8-bit drum, and I knew I was ending it before we had even but we officially spoke. I was like, oh, I can help these guys with this.
Because I know I asked you because you had done some stuff with those gaming nerds as well,
Mm-hmm.
and I know you were like, "Nah, I'm not interested in like writing and stuff," and I was like, "No, that's cool." I was like, "But we're doing the podcast,"
Mm-hmm.
and Nat was like, "Oh, okay, I might be into that." And then that's what really like kicked it all off. He did like Nat is great. He did all the graphics that we have. Every image that you see on the site, Nat made in a relatively short time as well. Like Nat put together that logo. He gave us like a bunch of color options, and he's like, "Hey, pick one." And we picked that
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, that green and yellow. Originally, it was a black font. And he was just like, "Nah, I'm gonna change it." And then he just made it white, and that was the logo. That was
Mm-hmm.
it. And he's like, "All right, I'll put this on a bunch of stuff for you."
You know what's even funnier than just that was it was funny because I was just looking for reasons to like do some design stuff because I just bought my iPad and I was like, oh, I'll help these guys, and I just made that. I made that like font from scratch. That's all hand. That's not like a font, you could find. It's like made with my iPad. It's kind of cool.
The image for this podcast was made by Nat.
Yeah. I was gonna say what else? You know what's funny? I was saying also is this is when I realized that which is why I want to buy a new mic. I was looking at mics today, and the problem is this mic sound. I had just got this mic when we started doing the podcast. This mic sounds so much better back then. Like it's weird. It's flipped. My mic was such good quality back then compared to like yours and Ross's. Like Ross sounded like he was speaking through a toaster. Yours was good, but I think it was
Ross,
noticeable that you was on a headset.
no, Ross was on the headset. I
Mm-hmm.
had my Yeti at that point.
Okay.
But the problem was
Yeti does too
I
much
had the gain
interference
too
with
high.
like
Yeah.
noise cancellation or like not
Yeah.
noise cancellation but like the
So
gain
you
and
were
stuff.
definitely the clearest voice.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got the 2020 and like I got the XLR 2020 and stuff. And then
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, I'm taking the crown.
Speaking of which, I was gonna ask you, what interface are you using to run your XLR cable through? Or are you not using one?
Well, I right
Because I
now I
know your
only
Shure mic has a USB out, right?
I'm so right now everything that you hear and that the podcast hears is the USB one because
Mm-hmm.
that does all the automatic like gain control and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. I have it hooked up through XLR to I have a Scarlett Solo from
Mm-hmm.
Focusrite, but that's only to do the to hear myself.
Okay. So I was thinking of buying a Scarlett Duo because I wanted the option to have like the second mic setup, right? But the problem is I don't know if I really want to use like a virtual mic to use the MIDI as an audio input. because I know exactly what I need. Because I remember we had talked about this, and I told you I was thinking of getting that Scarlet, which is funny. The
Well, I
Scarlet, because we was talking about it, and I was thinking of getting that Scarlet when we were when you were originally asking me about my mic back in the day, and
yes.
I was thinking I have an AT2020. I bought this because I didn't want to buy the Scarlet, and that's what I would want to buy. But I was looking at it today. I was like, I haven't looked at this in a while because I was originally thinking of getting a Go XLR, like one of those
Those
like
things are so expensive, but they're so nice.
I think low key they might be a waste of money because they're not actually that expensive for what they are considering. But I
Yeah, but they're
don't
more
think,
expensive than a Scarlet Solo.
yeah, but you could
Like
buy a
by a
Scarlet.
considerable
But the
margin.
problem is, you could buy a Scarlet Solo and a Stream Deck and have money to spare for the money you're gonna buy that for.
Right, and that's the point. Like that's why I think it's expensive. But like,
Mm-hmm. But also, those will do more than that.
yeah,
Which is why it'd be one thing if it was everything combined, because I hate stuff and I want to minimize the amount of stuff I have, like needlessly. Because I could get the Focusrite mounted to the bottom of my desk and never see it and just adjust the knobs without looking at it.
oh, fair enough. I
But
mean,
if I have
I
that, that
like,
has to be like in my face. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I really like this one, the Shure mic.
mm-hmm,
I think it's like the MV7 or something like that.
mm-hmm,
I really like this. I'm not the biggest fan of like USB mics, which is why I switched to the 2020 at the time
mm-hmm,
because Tony gave it to me, so it was
mm-hmm,
free. But I also just like the control you have over like an XLR mic. But the
mm-hmm,
nice thing about this one is it just runs a program in the background that does all that stuff in real time.
mm-hmm,
So the only reason I even have it hooked up is because it can do output to both. So you can simultaneously output through XLR and USB.
mm-hmm.
And again, I only have it through the XLR just so I can kind of hear myself through the microphone, so I can catch myself. But the thing is like even when I get loud and I hear it distorting through like the Focusrite or something, like if I get really close,
Mm-hmm.
and it sounds really like loud to me. This thing, you heard it. I think I got a little quieter to you, right? When I
Nah,
did
you
that.
sounded the same, but you just sounded a little bit more muffled because
Okay,
you're
fair enough.
speaking directly into the like sock.
But still, like compared to how I hear it, because I sound a lot louder when I do it
Mm-hmm.
through the XLR side because I'm right up on it. I really like that. I
Are you
like
using
this is the
XLR
mic I want
Banana?
Ross to get, huh?
Are you using XLR Banana? Like, what are you using program wise?
No, I'm not using any program. Like the program that this has, it comes with the microphone.
Okay, so it's just the driver.
So it's the Shure Plus Motive is
Because
what it's
I
called, the
was thinking of
program,
getting something, right?
and it is the MV7.
But yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at a black one. I have no qualms with getting this because I still have more money coming in tax return. But
And
which
it's
oddly
literally
is taking a
just
while to show up.
it's just a switch. Like honestly, you go
Mhm,
in the app and you just tell it. So auto level by default, you tell it if the microphone is near, like within 6 inches, or you put it to far, which is like between like 6 and 18 inches. Like
mhm.
you weren't here when we were doing VR, because like if I'm back here, you can
Mhm.
barely hear me
Yeah.
if at all, because it's in near
No, I
mode.
was
But if I
already thinking of getting the mic
yeah,
you
but no,
have, but I
what
was
I was
also looking
saying
at. Mhm,
what I was saying is when I put it in far, like everybody could hear me clearly. Like even if I was like across the room on VR, people could still hear me. But like I was
mhm,
clear. I didn't sound like distorted or anything. So like this program does work. Like this does everything a mixer would do for you, but it does it in real time and it's very effective. Like this thing is
mhm.
incredible.
So I was thinking of getting that or a Rode Pod mic because we use those on
Those are nice too.
Chronicles. We use those on Chronicle, my other podcast, and they do work. Like those are like really nice microphones, and they're
They
like $100.
I heard it. Like I heard it on your podcast and like it sounds real good.
Yeah, so they're like $100. But the problem is I could spend more money, right? But like I'm gonna buy one of these and just keep to the side for like a guest and as a backup in case something happens to one of the mics you record with. I don't think that'll happen, but I do want to buy one just in case. And I was also looking at a Rode PSA 1 or 2. It might be the 2 now, but whatever the newest version as the PSA is. And I just can't figure out which one I'm gonna get. I like yours just because it has the option for USB out, just so like if I'm like XLRing into the computer, which is the way I want to do it. I just don't want to run a bunch of like extra bloatware on my computer on top
Yeah.
of it, which is the one thing that's annoying. I know I could use XLR Banana, but I don't know. I don't know if I really want to do that. I might just suck it up and buy that mic first because I could buy the Focusrite later. But I need to decide if I'm gonna get the Focusrite because I need to know if I'm gonna buy a Focusrite Duo or Solo. You know what I mean? I'm probably gonna go for the Duo just in case I want to have a second person on. I'm not think I'm gonna have too many people in my house like doing stuff, but like if I have a second mic for like for whatever reason, like you know what I mean, like.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say, like, if you want mine, like my Scarlet, you could have it because I'm sure I could do monitoring on this, but you want the Duo, so my Solo wouldn't do you any good for that.
Yeah,
Because I still have my headphones plugged into this,
mhm.
into the Focus, right?
It's just because the Solo is like $40 cheaper or something.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
I had
Solo is 120 and the Duo is 160.
this M Audio one, the original one that my other friend,
Mm-hmm.
not Cypher Tony, gave me,
Mm-hmm.
was good, and then it just started kind of going on the fritz. So I replaced it with another
Yeah.
M Audio because I was like, hey, you know what? This one worked. Let me just
Mm-hmm.
get a better one of these. And it was really nice
Mm-hmm.
until it just was shit.
I feel
Like it
you.
was a really nice looking box. I spent like $120 on it or something. It had like a really nice like interface on it, like really easy controls and stuff like that. Like it was super simple to use, but it just I always got like this popping in my mic and stuff like that. And at a certain point, I think it might have actually been the new desk I had it on,
Mm-hmm.
causing it because the Scarlet was doing it a little bit, but not as much. And then I ended up moving the Scarlet, and now it's been fine. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but like that M Audio, just like every time it would just like have this like clicking. So like if it was quiet, it would just be like click, 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 click in my headphones. And like I'd start up like a YouTube video and it would just crackle. And so I got
Mm-hmm.
rid of that shit right
You
away.
know what it might be? Some of those have metronome built in. That might have been what it was. Is it might have been because a lot of those are used for recording like live instrumentation and
But
stuff.
would it sound like a popping? Like it wasn't like
I
an
don't know.
actual click. It
I don't.
sounded
I
kind of
haven't
like a weird
used.
pop.
I used to have a Bergenher
Hmm.
version, but I got rid of it because I didn't want to use XLR. Because like my dad used to have a bunch of DJ equipment, so I took like a Bergenher one he had because like you could use a lot of these for the same like the
Yeah.
equipment crosses over. And yeah, I gave that away. I didn't want to use it anymore.
Fair enough.
It was just the drivers and stuff weren't there. Like it wasn't intended to be used the way I was trying to use it. If that makes sense.
No, I get
I
you.
was like,
That makes
yeah,
sense.
I'm done. Yeah, see, I was looking at the Rode Podcaster Broadcast Dynamic Vocal Microphone. This is what I was looking at, but
I think I was looking at
it's like
that too
two
for a while.
twenty. Mm-hmm.
But like when I was looking at a new microphone, and then I ended up
Mm-hmm.
getting this one because a streamer I watch, shout out to KWitty23. He's a Bloodborne speedrunner, does a lot of
Mm-hmm.
like Soulsborne speedruns and stuff like that. He got a sponsorship from GameStop and they sent him one of these. And I
Mm-hmm.
heard it and I was like, oh, that's cool. And I heard him talking about it. He's like, yeah, it's a USB mic, but like it does all this stuff for you. And I started reading into it and I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, at the time, I was just really frustrated because like my voice tops out a lot. And so I really just needed
Mm-hmm.
something that like I wasn't good at controlling it. So I was just like, I need something that'll do it for me. And at first I was like, I don't know, but the more I use it, the more I really like it. And like I can't tell you the last time I had anybody complain about my mic going crazy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think I have it set to like 100% right now in Windows and it's just
Mm-hmm.
totally fine.
Which is why I was thinking of getting that because if I get that, I won't need to buy like. The problem is if I buy this, I need to buy a
Right.
Focusrite or some sort of
And you
interface.
got to make sure that you can power it too. So you might need like a preamp or something. Well,
Yeah.
maybe not with the Rode, but not with the one you already have or are looking at. But like I was looking at other mics too, and they were all like, "Yeah, you got to make sure you have a good preamp for it." And I'm like, I don't want to have to get a preamp. I don't want to have to
Mm-hmm.
do all this stuff when I could just have this do it for me.
Mm-hmm. I'm just bugging. I thought the Focusrite also worked as a preamp.
It does, but like I was looking at like another Shure mic just
Hmm.
for ha-has, and like I specifically looked it up and they were like, yeah, the Focusrite has a preamp, but it's not strong enough.
Okay.
It wasn't strong enough for that particular microphone, and I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna buy this one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like. I don't want to get anything that needs. Like, I'm sure the audio quality is amazing, but I'm not. I don't need anything that needs that level because at that point, then you're just gonna have an audio cabinet with amps and stuff in your corner.
Yeah. And then they're like, no, get this thing because then this has a preamp that's strong enough, or get this thing to run it through. And I'm just like, I don't want to set up a bunch of shit. Like, I just want to get on and record my goddamn podcast. Like, honestly, that's all I really care
Hmm.
about. I made it, I made it work in OBS and stuff like that. It was just for the podcast. I
Hmm.
wanted to just be able to, get animated and not have to worry about topping out.
Hmm. So you know what's the one thing that annoys me
What's that?
about the Shure mic
What's that?
is that it just says "Shure" in big ass letters. I fucking hate that.
Branding.
I hate that, bro. Like yes, it's like I get it,
Could probably paint
but
over it or something, or put
nah,
encase
then
it in something.
it's gonna look ugly if I do that. If I do, I'm just gonna get a sticker and put a sticker on it.
Yeah, that works too. I mean, listen, they want this is free advertising for them. Sure.
Hmm.
That's what they want. They
But you
want
know
it to
what's
be
it's
on a video like
annoying
this
because most of Shure's products don't have branding on it. Like they
because
do,
those
but
are
it's not like
professional
that.
and this is consumer.
Yeah.
That's why.
Because like the one level up for this mic, which is targeted towards radio, doesn't have Shure branded right on the side.
Isn't
It
that the
has
one
it
that's also like
on the
$4.99 or
band right
something?
here. It's like 300 flat.
Yeah. Because I think that was the other one I was looking at, and that was the one that I was reading needed the preamp. They were like, that's the one
Mhm.
that Michael Jackson used. And I was just like, ooh, well, if it's good for Michael.
Hey man.
If it's good for
Because yeah, the
Michael, it should be
Shure
okay for me.
M7B is
Yes.
400. And
Yeah, that was the other one I was looking at. And that was the one that I read you needed a better preamp than what the Focusrite would give. Because
mhm,
that was the other one I was strongly considering. Because that one, I think at the time I could get on Amazon and it would be like, hey, over like 5 payments or something. And I was
mhm.
like, dope, let me just get this. But then I read the preamp thing and I was like, I'm just going to spend the money out of pocket and buy this thing.
Yeah, because I have everything here. It's funny because like not funny, but like it's nice because I could literally just slot it in here and be good to go. But yeah.
I mean, I just hooked it up. This is exactly how it comes with this part right here. For,
Hmm.
for the audio listeners, I know we're talking a lot of visual stuff. I'm sorry. This has like an almost like horseshoe kind of like attachment that the
Hmm.
microphone's kind of bolted onto. Um, and it just so like you can like
Can I
rotate
see
it
the
around and
bottom of
stuff.
your mic?
Hold on. Can you see it okay from there?
Oh, it's kind of blurry. It's okay. I'll look at images on.
I can show you after. I can just like
Mhm.
video in Discord.
And I just want to know because I do like this
Here,
because
hold on.
it's the shock mount. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just want to know if I could still use this because the arm looks cool, but I just don't know if it's gonna provide that level of isolation where like when I'm hitting my desk and stuff.
I mean, I think it does an okay job. That was an awful picture. Hold on, I'm trying to take a picture of it for you.
Hmm.
Oh my god. Trying to take a picture in your texting app is awful because it just doesn't work right.
I feel you. I guess it'd be fine because my Rode pod mics also don't have like an isolation shock like thing, so I think it should be fine. And that those mics see way more not wear and tear, but way more rambunctiousness compared
And
to
like
this mic.
remember too that this mic has like the built-in like dead zone
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. So even if you have like a little motion like
Mm-hmm.
this, it's not going to pick any of it up
Mm-hmm.
because it's looking for that. It's waiting for the voice activation, and then it's just doing everything based on that. Like
Mm-hmm.
it does a fantastic job. Like I can just sit here and kind of like you didn't even hear me tapping on my desk. Unless I'm like up here like banging on it. That's the only
Mm-hmm.
way you're gonna hear it.
Yeah, I'm already I was already leaning that way, but I just didn't
And
know
then
if I wanted to spend
I
250
like
on
this.
it.
I don't know if you're looking for the arm, but I like this arm too, the Thron Max.
Nah, this arm is great.
I don't know how you say that.
This arm is legitimately great.
I
It's a
had
little
one like
older.
that. I had a much cheaper version of that
No, this
that I
is like
didn't
the
like.
bee's knees expensive one that I'm
I
like.
replaced it with this one. This one
Mhm.
was like $60,
It's
$70.
not
I
bad. That's
love
good.
this thing.
You should
Like
send me
this.
a link for that because I'm not going to replace this one, but I might replace some of the ones at our podcast set because
Like
we do like own the space. So if you
what?
guys ever come to New York and like for press reasons, never want to do something, it's a little out of the ways from the city, but yeah, we do
Hey
have
man,
all
I'm
the
always
equipment.
down. But yeah, this one's really nice because at all the joints, there's like a little like tab built
Hmm.
in, so you can just like tighten it on the fly.
Hmm.
So if you don't want it to move around, you just want it to hold steady, you can just tighten it at every joint
Hmm.
with just like it's got like the little like the circle with like the line running through it, and that's the tab you
Hmm.
grab, like if you put a coin in a screw kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's
So
just
these
like
have the
that.
same things, but they're screws. So
Yeah,
you could
so
do
but
that with these
instead of the
too. So
screws,
I know you
you've
said it
got
has the
like the
knob.
big like this whole
Hmm.
circle you see right here is the whole twist knob on this side.
Hmm.
Like it's edge to edge.
I see.
It's really nice.
This
Like
So
I'm not
what's
trying
nice
to sell
about
you
this? No, I'm
against
not saying
yours.
sell
Yeah.
me on it because that's cheaper than this. This is $100.
Yeah, you got the road one,
Like
right?
I can put
Yeah.
a mic on here that
I
weighs like
almost
70
bought that
pounds.
one. Yeah, no,
This
I
is really
almost bought that
nice.
one. And the
If
thing I
I
like
if
is
I take the mic out of here and everything, this mic is just heavy enough to counterbalance this because if I take the mic out of here, it would literally spring up.
mine does the same thing. I know exactly
Yeah.
what you're talking about. What's really cool on this one too is it's got these little tabs here,
Hmm.
so you can run like an XLR cable
Yeah.
all the way through it and just lock it kind of in.
That's nice.
I run the USB cable through it
Mhm.
now, so
These just have these like little Velcro thingies,
yeah.
but they're nice.
Like that's the thing is like I get it. I almost bought the Rode one because the Rode
Hmm.
one is very highly rated, and I'm
Hmm.
not trying to dissuade anybody from getting that one. But what I really liked
No,
about
I
this one
mean,
is it's just a really solid. I like how solid
what
and
is
kind
it
of
called?
beefy it looks. It is the THRONMAX.
So like if I was in the market for buying what version of it is that?
Um,
Because the
I
only I
can
see
check
one
in a
that's
second.
$80, not
I mean, it's
60.
possible that the price went up. I doubt it, but here, hold on. I can tell you in a second because I just got
Hmm.
to find the one that I bought.
I think I found it. It's CS $80.
It might have gone up.
Because the thing is, this was the cheapest, highest quality one I could buy. Because
Yeah.
this was more marketed towards consumer. Because all the other ones like had the like, oh, you're buying this for a radio station, so we're marking it up, or they
Oh,
were cheap pieces of shit.
it's not the S2 caster. It is the
Mhm.
Zoom adjustable
Yeah, that's
suspension.
$80 on Amazon
Yeah,
for
I
me.
bought this April 11th of last year.
Hmm.
It's real nice. I like it a lot.
I have to see how much these guys are the Rode because like the one like we bought our Rode pod mics in a bundle, and two of them in a bundle, one solo, and they came with like not great boom arms.
Hmm.
So I was thinking of replacing at least the one I use because I move it not moving around a lot, but I just don't like the hassle of moving because we move those they get the dong because they
Yep.
have the exposed springs and stuff.
Yeah, when you
It's
have
just
that's what I
mhm,
hated. Mine had that. So your road is nice, but
mhm,
my other one you'd get the ding 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 every time you're moving it as
mhm,
the spring is expanding and contracting. I didn't actually
exactly.
realize that. I don't know if you say it Thron Max or Throne Max,
Mhm.
but they make their own microphones too
Yeah,
that are
I was gonna say I
apparently
assume so.
very highly rated on Amazon.
Yeah, this is the Rode PSA boom arm. That's what this was. No, yeah, Rode PSA one swivel mount, and It looks like, yeah, because I bought this 2016. That's how long I've had this. I don't think these are the price. I don't think they might sell these anymore, actually.
Well, because it lists that one, it says is the one I bought, but maybe it was a different seller. They have hmm. Let me view my order real quick. Who did I buy it through? Oh yeah, it was sold by them when I bought it. You're buying
Mm-hmm.
it from somebody else now. Huh. I
At
wonder.
least you can't buy the PSA 1 through Amazon. And also, yeah, it's $99 through like B&H and stuff. This is what I had bought before, which is it's still $100, but I wasn't mad at it. I had liked it, especially because before I moved here and I had it on the side of the desk. This had it came with like 3 different bases, which I wish I could find, and they were like for different variants of how you wanted to set the mic up.
Yeah. I really like it for, if anybody can find it
Mm-hmm.
at the original price. Apparently they're not selling it directly through Amazon anymore, but I
Neither
like it a
is
lot. I'm
Rode.
glad I bought it. Neither
Neither
is
is
Rode.
Rode for selling
Jeez.
their PSA 1 because I bought the PSA
I wonder if maybe they're just
1.
not making them right now.
Maybe the Rode stuff is all out of stock because we only have 3. We have 3 Podcast Go mics and one like just other brand one that's like serviceable, but it's noticeably worse
Yeah.
because Rode is like out of stock on everything
Yeah.
because
I bet it's
everybody
just a
during
manufacturing
quarantine
thing.
just decided, yo, we're doing podcasts, I guess.
I was talking to Mark the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were trying to do the podcast with those gaming nerds and we just didn't
Mm-hmm.
have a really good way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But like he was talking about it and he was like he looked back on those gaming nerds because obviously that was his thing. He's like, you know what? He's like, we did a lot of things before they became really popular. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't like invent anything, we did.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like, the way like with some of the videos we made and the fact that we had the podcast, he was like, we had that stuff going before a lot of other people did.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like, we were always like a year or two early to where everything kind of blew up. Because he was like, we were making the podcast, but then podcasts, a year or two later got much easier to make.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, but we weren't doing it anymore at that point. And so, like, that was his thing, is we were always like a year or two ahead of the curve.
Mm-hmm.
And like, we always missed it. And I
Story of my
wonder
life, bro.
sometimes how it would have been like if this would still be the Those Gaming Nerds podcast if we had caught that wave. You know what I mean?
Story. I mean, that was 8-bit drum for the example because I was telling them we should be making like everybody I was doing there, like, yo, we should be doing podcasts, and they wouldn't show up for it, which is annoying because I would legitimately edit everything. I was like, I will buy you a microphone, I will do everything, and nobody would show up. I was like, show me you're gonna show up, and I'll buy you the equipment, and nobody would show up, so I didn't buy the equipment, thank God. But if they would have showed up, we would have had like, because we were doing the 8-bit drum podcast, and we had like other versions of like content. Like I had a whole content suite built out for 8-bit drum that were like anime shows and all this other stuff. We just didn't have enough people that would actually show up consistently to do that stuff. So it kind of ended there. But it's kind of annoying because like not my close friends, but some of the other people that were like kind of like satellites part of the site, and they would like jump in and jump out. Those guys always hit me up and like, oh, you man, yo, I see all this stuff blowing up. Well, how come we never started? Like, because you never showed up. I was
That's
literally
true.
saying I would edit everything, but I can't be like the main attraction talent and the guy editing everything. Like it
You know
just
that
doesn't work.
that was the one thing I talked about with Ross when we started HalfGen. Is I was like, look, I want to do this podcast, and he said, so do I. I said we have to do it every week, and we were really bad about it for a while. And then we got back on track. Once you became more of a permanent member, that's when everything got a lot easier. But then I was going through some shit, so like everything kind of fell apart, and then the site ended up the HalfGen hiatus, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
But since we've been back, we have been consistent. I think the podcasts on average have been longer. like today, I'll be honest, I didn't know what the hell we were going to talk about today because I had a bunch of news and a couple games, and I was like, well, this is going to be like an hour episode. We haven't even covered all the fucking news yet.
Yeah.
And this has been a long episode, but like the episodes are longer, and I think they're better, because like we just got better energy now. I don't know what it is, but the
No, we talked.
podcast has
You do
been
know what this is because we talked about it beforehand.
it's
We
our chemistry.
talked about it. No, we talked specifically that we'll talk about news, but not when we first started doing the half gen. We'd gotten this weird rut where we was trying to be very like, this is the news, trying to be very professional about it. Not in a bad way, but we made the conscious decision that we don't really care what's happening in the news as much as we care about our opinions on what's happening
Yeah,
on the news. And we made an active decision to focus more on how we feel about things instead of just, oh, this is what's happening.
yeah. No,
So,
and that has been better because like we covered one thing, and like that's the
mhm,
thing is like we might not have even talked about that other than like the here's the half gen statement. Now let's move on,
yeah.
but like having a conversation around it is much more important, and it's working. Hope everybody else agrees.
Yeah, man, but I feel like with podcasts specifically, it's the consistency because I try to like my co-host for my friend Tuck, the co-host for my other podcast, was on another podcast, but I've known him for a long time. Like I helped him with his site and a bunch of stuff, and he knew I used to do podcasts, and he started doing another podcast that was based around beer. But he doesn't really drink beer, but he wanted to help his friends do a podcast, so he would go drink beer with them and try it and talk about whatever they were doing. And shit kind of like fell apart, and he had put money into equipment there to do this stuff, but they still kept like long story short, we rebought all this equipment for our podcast studio, but he had put money into it, and I was like, yo, if you have all these complaints, let's just do a podcast. Like I have no complaints, like let's just do a podcast, but we have to do it right. Like we have to do it right, and we have to just know that we should be looking at this as a hobby and not something that's just going to blow up overnight. But at the end of the day, when people find your podcast, if you establish what your brand is and stuff and what you're doing, even if it's not what they want, like it's like they're gonna look and they're like they know what they're getting out of it, and they're gonna make their decision. Do I want to include this in my routine? Because I don't feel like people jump. I feel like a lot of people are making podcasts now, but they don't realize podcast listeners are very different from YouTube viewers, are very different from like radio show listeners, and they're very different from like a lot of other mediums because most people who are listening to podcasts are actively doing something else.
Yeah,
Which is why I say like we do video, but video isn't important because most people watch the video to see if something's crazy happening, they'll look in. But for the most part, they have it on in the background while they're
right.
cleaning, working out, they're working, they're driving, they could be commuting. They
I
could
listen to podcasts exclusively when I'm driving.
yeah, like driving, working out. Like I used to listen. I haven't been working out as much because I twisted my ankle and then quarantine and then the cold and snow and everything. So I've been slacking. But as you know, I was running a bunch. I would listen to podcasts because if I have a podcast on specifically something comedy, something that I feel like I could listen to while I'm running, it just makes it feel like it goes by faster.
Yeah.
So, you know.
No, I get you. Yeah. That's the thing is like, especially in like a commute, because like my commute's not like the longest, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like, 40 minutes each way. And it's just like, I like having something on. Like, I like having people talking because, music is great and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, you just want to kind of feel like you're involved in something. So kind
Mm-hmm.
of having the voices helps in a lot of ways,
I
just
was
kind of
gonna say
like speed the time.
podcasts a lot of times, like podcasts like ours, we cover news, but we're not a news podcast.
No.
Podcasts like my other podcasts and stuff, the advantage they have is the same advantage like Howard Stern had on the radio, is where people listen to you enough, and even if they don't know you, they kind of feel like they're your friend because they know how you respond to questions. They have fun with laughing at the stuff you're laughing at, so they feel like they know you in a weird way because inherently they know so much about you.
Yeah, I think the only reason we really brought news back is like a
Mm-hmm.
focus is just because, especially this time of year, just there's not a lot of new games,
Mhm.
and we're just not, we got to talk games at some point, right?
Like
Because we're
even aside, like we went in saying, "Oh, we're gonna try and talk about more of the games we're playing," and we quickly realized listing off the games we're playing isn't the best content. Like
no.
we barely pay attention to it anymore.
I think just
I personally stopped trying to just be like, "Yo, unless something crazy happened, I try not to like dive deep because I'm playing this, and if it's something that I feel like is worth talking about, I'll talk about it. But for the most part, I'm just relaxing, playing Minecraft or something. But when something happens, like in Divinity, we talk about it for a while.
yeah.
And there's like set pieces to a bigger story. I feel like for a lot of people, podcasts should be conversational. They feel like they should be involved instead of. I feel like early on, like we've gotten better. So now even when we bring up games, it's more conversational than it is. I was playing this and here's what happened and here's what happened. It's I was playing this and yo, this happened. Like, and I'm like, yeah, that's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like a back and forth instead of a monologue about
Yeah,
what you've been
no.
doing.
Like the thing is at a certain point, yeah, like I get that we got to talk
Mm-hmm.
about games at some point, though,
Yeah.
and that's the thing is like I try not to go into too much, like
Mm-hmm.
I read the room. Not everybody's crazy about Destiny or Apex, but when I do bring them up, I try to be like, hey, there's some cool shit happening, or yo, I've got this crazy story.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like even the smaller stuff, like Bravely talking about that today and stuff like that. Like I little conversation here or there, or even excuse me, sometimes even just talking about, hey, here's what happened, can be beneficial for somebody who's just
Mm-hmm.
thinking about that game. Somebody just might need to hear me say, yeah, it's just this really old
Mm-hmm.
school RPG, and like I'm really interested to keep playing it, to be like, oh, okay,
But I
maybe
was
I do
saying,
want to
like,
play this game.
I was saying that not only have we been doing, I'm not saying we eliminated it. I'm saying we
Oh yeah,
did
no,
it.
I know
Not
what you mean.
only are we doing it, but we've incorporated a good balance of doing that and having conversations about it. So it just doesn't feel like a monologue. You know what I
There are
mean?
definitely days where we don't have that. And
Yeah.
you can tell they're the weeks that we haven't played a lot. Like the
Hmm.
weeks where I just play Destiny. I come in here and
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I play Destiny. And then like that's kind of the end of it. Cause like unfortunately I'm not gonna have a conversation about, Nat's follow-up question isn't going to be, tell me about your time in Destiny this week.
Admittedly, I don't care.
I
Like,
know. I know. Trust me, I know. I'm
but if we're gonna
trying to
loop back to where we started, America's really bad at reading the room, and sometimes you just got to read the room.
yeah. God, just I led with this specifically on the news because I was like, I'm gonna lead with this so that
Hmm.
everything after this is better. And
Hmm.
then like, we fixed it already. And now again, it becomes one of those things where it's like anything that follows this becomes trivial.
Hmm.
Because we went on, because we got into it. Um I don't even know. Like historically, I would just still go through and read these headlines, but like, do you care? Do we care? Do we want
I
to
mean,
just
we
like?
could bullet point them.
I mean, like,
Bullet point reading, our bullet point reaction.
let's call it the quick hits. This is the quick hits. Boom at the end of the podcast. Um, Bunch of Bethesda games came to Game Pass late last week, just after we recorded the podcast.
Boom.
So like Fallout, like, and they're Game Pass for PC and for Xbox. Let me see if I can pull up a list here real quick.
Doom,
Um,
all the Dooms.
Dishonored 1, the definitive edition, Dishonored
Mm,
2, OG Doom, OG Doom 2, Doom 64, Doom 3, Doom Eternal, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Prey, the 2017 Prey,
mm,
Rage 2, Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, Elder Scrolls Online, The Evil Within, Wolfenstein: The New Order, Wolfenstein: The Old Blood, and the Wolfenstein the Young Blood. Why couldn't I
mm.
remember that? Are all on Game Pass now on PC and Xbox.
Yeah,
So if you
it's
haven't somehow played
14 games in
Skyrim,
total on PC.
yeah. If you somehow haven't played Skyrim yet, here's your chance.
You know
Microsoft
what sucks, bro?
also,
You know what sucks about stuff progressing? I
what's that?
never used to think Morrowind looked bad or
But
Oblivion
now,
looked bad. Now those games look
yep.
like shit.
I wish they would remaster Oblivion. I feel
Hmm.
like Oblivion would be easier. Morrowind would be a remake. I
Hmm.
think you could remaster Oblivion.
Hmm.
but I would like it to have some of like the Skyrim mechanics because some of the mechanics are
Just
better.
remake it in Skyrim, and
Well, somebody's doing that as a mod. I can't wait for it to be
I
done.
would play it because
I
like
would play the shit
I
out of that.
think Oblivion like, is more in depth. Like the Thieves Guild is like way better in
Oblivion is a better
Oblivion.
game.
Mm-hmm.
Oblivion is a better game than Skyrim, and you're the only other person I know who believes me.
I think I think mechanically Skyrim is a better game.
I agree.
Skyrim has more epic moments, but the quality of quests in Oblivion are so much higher.
Astronomically better. Like, so much better. Like, you
A
are
lot of
100% correct.
A lot of the Skyrim quests are 3 types of quests.
Yeah.
Gather quest, escort quest, and assassination quest.
I will never forget the time in the Thieves Guild I stole an Elder Scroll. Like, that is shit that I still vividly remember doing and was one of the coolest things I ever did in a game. I remember the twist in the Dark Brotherhood storyline. Like, I remember going through the Warriors Guild and stuff like that. And like Skyrim is just a little kind of like by the numbers.
It's
Skyrim,
like
I like the gameplay better in Skyrim. I like
that's
the
what I'm
idea
saying.
that I can eventually become stronger than people, which it's harder to do in Oblivion. But like, because everything levels evenly with you. Like at a certain point in Skyrim, you're very strong, and I like that power fantasy. But Oblivion is just, I think the world is more interesting. It's more colorful. The quests are better. I think the characters are better.
To Oblivion.
Going to Oblivion.
The sorcerer's like school, the Dark Brotherhood, like a lot of the stuff
Thieves Guild
interesting.
Is like my favorite part of the whole game.
A lot of the interesting stuff in Oblivion are so much more interesting compared to the interesting stuff in Skyrim. They all feel like fragments of of once what was great. You know what I mean? In Skyrim.
Yeah, like you could do one of those guilds in Oblivion could be like a short game, you know? Like you could do all the guilds in Oblivion and never touch the story and walk away from that game like, holy shit, you know? Whereas like in Skyrim, I just never got that.
That was my experience in Oblivion originally. I only played through the Thieves Guild quest and then never did anything else.
I played through the Thieves Guild and I played through the Dark Brotherhood. And
that I never got to do the Dark Brotherhood because I didn't own Oblivion growing up. I borrowed it from my cousin.
You know what's funny? The first time I got Oblivion, I bought it for the 360. I bought like the big collector's edition and stuff. I got it home. I played it for a couple hours and I fucking hated it. I don't know what it was. I hated it. A year or two later, Two Worlds comes out. Fucking love Two Worlds. To this day, that game is broken and janky and deserves no love. But I adore that game for everything it is. And so after I've played that, like to the point, I think I've said this before, I made a new character just to try some new stuff. I accidentally saved over my main character with like 80 hours. And I just said, fuck it, I can do it better. That's how much I loved that game. Any other game, I overwrite that character. I'm like in tears. I'm just like all that time wasted. But Two Worlds, I was like, I can do it faster this time. And I just went and did it again. And like, I love that. So I finally pick up Oblivion again. And I'm like, all right, fucking 136 hours later, I finished the main story. I did the guilds I like. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, this is one of the best games of all time. This is one of the best games I'll ever play in my life.
And we're doing a deep dive when this is supposed to be quick hits. But I feel like there was a point when I think it was like either I turned 16 where I realized I really weren't playing games. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I was playing games, but I wasn't playing games. Like I wasn't diving deep at the level that you could really dive into games.
Not like I did.
And maybe it was like Fallout 2 coming out at that time and like other games. But then I started retroactively going back to games I love. And then I was like, holy shit, there's this whole nother layer I missed. You know what I mean? Yep. And yeah, that era was great because I like went back and just played.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, because as you get older and you start to go back and appreciate some of the stuff you missed, you know, because when you're a kid, you're just playing the game to see the end.
Yeah.
You know,
like whereas now bragging that you beat the end, you don't realize that it's the journey and not the destination.
Yeah, like most endings in games are like fine, but it's like it's the shit that like, yo, did you do this quest though? It's over here in this area, you know. Like
I was gonna say, even like I feel like people don't realize, even with like road trips, right? Like like how funny it is that we talk about this thing that maybe took 15 minutes on our way to PAX the second time.
Mm-hmm.
We never talk about what happened in that PAX. We never mention
No.
what happened in that PAX. We talk about the journey of us going to PAX. And if anybody else tells me the journey, that's like the crowning jewel of the story. But like the story is, we went on this mega bus trip and it was supposed to take 4 hours. Somehow this bus driver did an hour and a half.
What the fuck?
He was fucking speeding. And we didn't notice. So we was in the bus terminal forever, just sitting around, hanging out. We got there so early. I don't
That's
know how this
crazy.
guy did this bus ride so fast.
Oh, jeez. Because that took me like an hour and a half to get there, and I drove my own car.
We got from Manhattan, 42nd. No, we got from in front of the Javits Center to Boston, like down the block from the convention center at the Penn Station up there in like an hour, maybe 40 minutes tops. It was ridiculous. So we had to sit there because we already knew we were going to be early. But so we had to sit. We were there like 4 hours way earlier than we needed to be before anything was open.
Yeah.
It was kind of crazy. We
And I
got there
remember
like 2 a.m.
I thought I could get in early to get my badge.
Mhm.
And so I'm trying to get in. The guard's like, I can't let you in. And I'm like, but I'm pressed. I just got to pick up my badge and I'll come back out. Like, there's like the pre thing for the press. And I'm like, I just want to make sure I have my badge. And he's like, I can't let you in until this time. And I'm like, but dude, like they told me to come. I'm like, the email, I'm showing him the email. It says, come to pick up your badge before we open. And he's just like, I can't let you in. So I'm looking at this line. I'm like, fuck, line. Now it's like, yo. And he's like, in the first like 50 people, he's just chilling there. And I'm just like, oh, thank God. And I'm like, yo, can I he's like, yeah, get the fuck in here.
Well,
So
here's
I
the
just
thing.
joined him in line.
Earlier that day, somebody definitely tried to fight me for wearing a Giants hat. And I also had like I don't want to outright say it was racist, but it definitely felt racist encounter. You know what I mean? And I was like, yo, at this point, ain't none of these people gonna say shit to me. I know you're scared of me because I'm black, and you're not gonna say nothing to me or my friend. My friend is gonna stand here. You're gonna fucking like it.
And then the only other thing I really like, I remember kind of what I did at that PAX, but the other thing I really remember was seeing Malik come down the escalator and being like, oh shit, that's Malik. He probably won't remember me. Him looking at me, waving and walking right up to me like, yo, what's up, man? It's good to see you. And I was just like, dude, I didn't think you'd remember me. He's like, of course I remember you. We had good times last year. He's like, remember when we got drunk? And I was like, I got us home. Like, and that to me was the other highlight, was just like, yo, this dude remembers me.
Yeah. It's so funny. Like, it's like if I would have, like, what's funny? If you and me both were there and better coordinated, that was the year they had the big Twitch booth. And they were literally giving people partnerships on Twitch for talking to them at the booth.
I didn't know that. I don't think I was barely streaming at that.
And they were giving people incentives, and that was a conversation I would have definitely had, because I heard Northern Line, one of my favorite streamers, was talking about going to that year specifically Twitch on the East Coast and talking to the Twitch booth and them just giving partnerships to people because they wanted to incentivize people to stream on Twitch because they didn't think they could get people to convert from Justin TV to the Twitch brand.
Little
And
did
that
they
was
know.
the whole thing.
Man, I should have gone over there. I was still streaming back then. I had my fucking SteelSeries headset with the shitty microphone. I was on I have a YouTube channel. It's shit. Don't look it up. There's nothing there of value. But I looked at an old upload of me playing Slender, the Arrival, or Slender the 8 Pages or something. One of them, not the Arrival, Slender 8 Pages or something. And I'm just listening to myself on this microphone, and I'm just like, how did anybody watch me? I looked like shit. I sounded like shit. And I'm just like, what did I do to deserve this? Like,
I want to get back into streaming or some sort of content creation. I just want to make something that's like that I enjoy because not for nothing, admittedly, I have a bunch of friends who are like decent sized streamers and I'm like, not saying that I'm like looking at it as envy, but it's like if I would have stuck with this, I probably would have a about sizable audience. And it's the problem is sticking with it. It's like if I had people in my chat speaking, I feel like I could justify playing, but that dead air of playing with nobody speaking is like demoralizing.
Yeah. No, I get you. And like honestly, like
I'm
that's
like,
one of
man,
my
I can't
things.
even fucking pick my nose right
I
now, or it's gonna be a meme. Like,
I tell people that all the time. It's like the one thing I
Mhm.
can ask for, and like the one thing I'm grateful for, even if it's like one or two people, just having an active chat, just having
That's
people
it. That's it.
talking is like enough for me. Just somebody who, like, if I say something, they react to it and they say something back to
Mhm.
me, just so I know that they're out there. Like that's a huge thing.
That's
You don't need to be a big streamer. If somebody is
mhm.
talking to you in your stream, cherish that.
That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm looking for. And funny enough, I feel like that enhanced why I was such a fan of Greedfall because I was streaming it and people were popping in genuinely curious about that
Yep.
game.
I still remember the biggest stream I ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Big man here. I had 162 viewers because Helldivers came out in the US the
Mm-hmm.
day before it came out in the EU, and I streamed it from my PS4 to
Mm-hmm.
Twitch. And all these European people came in and they were like, yo, how is this game? It's not out here yet. And
Mm-hmm.
so all these people are watching me play Helldivers. And like, I was the number one Helldiver streamer the first day. I was the number one
Mm-hmm.
Helldiver streamer the next day. And then I stopped playing Helldivers like the next day. I was like, I'm going to play something else. And like, nobody ever came back. But at the
Damn.
time, you couldn't follow on Twitch from the PS4.
Mm-hmm.
So like they were just watching on their PS4s. Um, but like that was so cool. That was like I was the number one guy for that game, and like that's remember small. We're just a bunch of
That
friends
was
here.
me
We
in
don't do
Greedfall, man.
anything.
I had like 40 viewers on Greedfall at one point. And it was kind of cool. And people were asking, like, Jen, like, yo, I seen this game on Steam because I had bought it before it went on sale. And then
Yeah,
it went on sale. And then people were like pouring in. And it was just like, yo, how is this? And I was like, surprisingly, like for a dollar store Skyrim, it's pretty fun.
I still like how you called it Dollar Store Skyrim, even though it was $60. It's the same price as
It was great
Skyrim was.
value. It was great value, man.
Great. Equate Skyrim.
I don't think it was $60. I think it
No,
was
it might have been
40. It
50 or 40. Yeah.
was 40, and then it went on sale for like $10 off.
Yeah. I remember watching you play that and like jumping in one day, and you were just like, "Yeah, well, now that you're here, I'm going to kick this thing's ass."
Mm-hmm. I'm so confident that I might be in the high ranks of of Greedfall streamers. I had that game down to a science. I was beating shit's ass that I shouldn't have been fighting.
Hey man, like I have Greedfall now in so many ways. I have it on my PS5 now because of the
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation Plus. I have it on PC now because of Game Pass, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like I still kind of just really want to play that game because of you, because like you speak so highly of it. And I'm just like, man, I really feel like I should just play this game.
Yo, man, there was a meme going around the other day. Yo, you could be a gay pirate. like, like there's just so much weird. Like, I don't think the game is exceptional in any aspect, but it does enough things interesting and takes its own path on a lot of things. Truly, I don't think there's many games like it. Like it
I
is an RPG, but the way it goes about handling stuff, while not the most optimal in most situations, it's always unique to the game and always interesting.
I kind of want it to be like my next two worlds.
Mm-hmm.
I want that feeling of that game
Yeah.
again. I want to play a game that it's like it's clearly not like Two Worlds was all like bigger than Oblivion and all that stuff. And I played it because that's what I wanted. But then it made me eventually appreciate. I want that game that I'm going to go in, I'm going to have the
Mm-hmm.
great time with, and then that's going to be the thing that makes me go and like play The Witcher 3 finally all the way through,
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be like the kind of B game that is like, you know what, this is not extraordinary in anything, but it is so much greater than the sum of its parts.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go and play the truly excellent thing, and I appreciate it more because of that.
So
But I
let me.
could still go back to Two Worlds, even though I love Oblivion.
Mm-hmm.
I've played Two Worlds more recently than I've played Oblivion. You
I
know?
feel you. So let me tell you my plan, right? And you're involved in this plan, low key. You don't
Okay.
even know it.
All right. Well, I will now.
I plan on streaming Metal Gear Solid 5 when I come back as my comeback game and just
I know how I'm
playing that
involved in that.
all the way through.
Look at my beautiful horse.
And I want to buy I want to I need to buy I want to buy a 4K Elgato eventually for
I
my
am
PS5.
having nothing but problems with mine.
Are you? It's
Yeah.
not fun.
No, so the thing is mine keeps
You
losing the
bought the
signal.
internal one, right?
Yeah. So mine keeps losing the signal.
Did you have the external one as well, or was that not as I have a 1080p one?
Yeah, I have the old one, but I don't use that anymore because it had the delay.
Mm-hmm.
So now I have the internal one. I have the 4K 60 Mark II, the 4K 60 Pro
Mark II,
Mark II.
yes.
And the thing is like the signal from that to the TV, like
Mm-hmm.
to the console, the gameplay experience is never interrupted if I'm on my TV. But on my
Mm-hmm.
PC, it constantly loses the signal. And so, like, I've been in touch with Elgato support. I just haven't tested it again recently because I've been busy
Yeah, I
all
remember you
week and then I've
talking
been
about
streaming.
that. Yeah.
Like, I want it to work because I want to record stuff. Like, I want to be able to go onto my PlayStation and not have to record.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I liked doing that Godfall thing, but I hated that I had to do it on a remote capture window.
Mm-hmm. I feel you.
And
I
that's not the way we should be doing it. I want to get the
Mhm.
raw footage, you know?
Same. I feel you. The problem is I was looking at the like some of my friends tell me the Aver Media cards are better now, but I used to have an internal Aver Media card that I bought before I bought my Elgato because I remember I'm like old school YouTube creator. Like
Yeah.
I was making YouTube videos, recording
Aver
games
was
when it
big
was
back in the day.
but Aver was the next big thing after HD PVRs. Remember that?
Yep.
The Hop HD PVR.
Yep. The Hop Hog is what Mark had, and he
I
tried.
used to have one of those. I had the brick thing. I bought my money, and it was sucked because I think it was I could buy this or PS3, and I bought that. And no, I made great content with it back in the day, and which is why like I have like 500 subscribers on YouTube, which sounds like nothing, but back in the day that was like a big audience, like for somebody that was just making videos and stuff. You know what I mean? Like I had a
Yeah.
decent sized audience and I like made videos every now and then, and I feel like they got good reactions. But then I moved to the internal Aver Media card, and I just had nothing but problems with that,
Yeah, like
which makes me hesitant to looking towards the new Aver Media stuff.
so like Elgato, I have had no previous issues with Elgato. I've had two
Mm-hmm.
Elgatos prior to this. They've both been external. They both worked perfectly fine. I have
Mm-hmm.
no complaints. I don't know if maybe I have a bad one. I don't know maybe if it's like my PCI slot. It's kind of a pain in the ass to get to, so I don't really want to
Mm-hmm.
unplug it. But like maybe that's what I do. Maybe tomorrow before I boot up my PC, I'll just go in, like unscrew it, hook it back in, and see if that helps. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like it doesn't make sense that it would keep losing the signal on the PC end, but nothing would be wrong with me actually like if I wanted to play it on my TV, hooked up to the Elgato, uninterrupted, no issues, flawless signal. Why would my Elgato keep dropping it?
Mm-hmm.
That's the part I don't get,
Yeah,
you
because
know?
like the
So,
4K 60 Mark II is 450.
and that's
Aver Media Live Gamer 4K is 218.
yeah, and like the thing is I bought mine so long ago. Like I bought it from Amazon and I could have returned it, but I didn't install it soon
Mm-hmm.
enough. I've had it for like 2 months, you know, so I can't
Okay.
return it now.
I'm just hesitant. I don't know what I should buy because I think internal would be the way to go.
For what it's worth, their external one also has almost no delay.
Yeah.
It's like 30 milliseconds tops. Like it's no greater than the delay on like a normal TV.
Mm-hmm.
So like the external one should be perfectly fine for you. I only got this one because I wanted like the real time.
Mm-hmm.
like
I mean,
for
I
live
want the
streaming and
real
stuff like that.
time as well because
I
I'm
think the
like
external is very close. It's like barely slower than the internal. It's just the internal one is a little bit faster because it uses like a times 8 PCIe lane. And like it's weird because I thought it would go into like one of my smaller PCI slots. It goes into a full size PCI, like
hmm
the same one that like a GPU would go into, but it only uses a very small amount of it. So I'm wondering if maybe it's something with the PCI where it's just struggling with the data, but not like the power.
I don't know.
I don't know what it is. I mean, my motherboard is built for it. I got a Gen 4 motherboard. Maybe that's the issue because that's a Gen 3. You know, maybe that's the problem.
Mm.
But
Yeah, I'm just looking. I gotta do more research on this and figure out which one I'm gonna buy. But I want to get one of these. I don't know which one I'm gonna get though.
yeah.
But I don't know if it even makes sense because I do have my old Avery Meteor card, right? And I also do have what you call it, like I have an Elgato, and I'm not gonna be streaming in 4K. So should I get a 4K capture card?
Well, so the only thing is you can still stream. So like you can tell it to so like the Elgato, their
Mm-hmm.
software is good as
Mm-hmm.
far as I can tell. So basically, you can tell it to like record or stream at like 1080p,
Mm-hmm.
but it allows for 4K HDR pass through.
Mm-hmm.
So like my TV, because it's
It's
not
4K.
2.1, it's 2.0. So my
Mm-hmm.
TV still gets the 4K HDR signal, but it's still routing through the 4K capture card.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I really want to buy one. If I start streaming, I'm gonna stream mostly PC games, unless it starts
Yeah.
like taking off for something where I feel like I can justify buying a 4K version.
Yeah, my only justification for it was we wanted to do more video content, and I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be able to record. I want to be able to record 4K console footage, you know, because that's the point, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what these things are all about.
I feel you.
I'll settle for 1080p at this point, though. If
Mm-hmm.
I can get a solid 1080p 60 signal, I'll settle for that. But let's finish these quick hits, I guess. Remember that FPS boost thing Microsoft was doing a couple weeks ago? We
Mm-hmm.
talked about for like Far Cry 4 and stuff. They're
Mm-hmm.
doing it to 5 Bethesda games on the Series X and S. Dishonored Definitive, Fallout 4, Prey, Fallout 76, and Skyrim are all going to be, at the very least, a stable 60 FPS for the most part, is my understanding. I know Digital Foundry did some looks at it. Apparently, Dishonored is a little wonky still, but like
Mm-hmm.
Prey, they said, it's not only now a locked 60, but it also is. They said load times that used to take over a minute take just a few seconds now. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what the hell they did, but they optimized these games incredibly for this console. And like that is the one thing I cannot take away from Microsoft. Like, you know, I've said in the past like how important is, you know, at a certain point, you know, when you're selling a new console, how important is it, you know, that backwards compatibility? But like, you know what, I bought a console for backwards compatibility now, and like that's a huge thing. And how they're treating it as like this very very important feature, with a ton of respect for how they're handling that. So you
Mm-hmm.
know, that's props to them for doing that work. That's incredible. And apparently that's all on their side, because somebody asked Pete Hines about it, who's, you know, head of the Bethesda, and he was just like, that's all Microsoft doing that. That's, we're
Mm-hmm.
not involved in that. Outriders is coming to Game Pass exclusively on the console and Android, or console and streaming. So you will be able to play Outriders if you have Game Pass, but only if you have an Xbox console or on XCloud, which it's a little unfortunate because I would like to play it on PC, but is what it is. A couple other games coming to Game Pass starting the 18th. So starting the day this podcast goes live. Um, Empire of Sin, Near Automata for PC. So unless otherwise noted, assume these are coming to both, I believe. Empire of Sin, Near Automata for PC, Star Wars Squadrons, Torchlight 3, On the 25th, we're getting Genesis Noir, Octopath Traveler, Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire, Superland, and then Yakuza 6. And then on March 30th, Narita Boy. And actually, I can double check here. So Torchlight 3, Pillars of Eternity, and Nier Automata are PC only. Also Superland. And then Star Wars Squadrons, Genesis Noir. No, I'm sorry. What was I saying? Star Wars Squadrons is only console. That's the only one that's only console, I believe. That's an incredible, huge lineup. It's still looking for some of those newer games, but shit, that's good. EA Play is coming to Game Pass on the 18th as well, so you'll be able to play any EA Play game on your Game Pass subscription. Not to be completely outdone, PlayStation is expanding their Play at Home 2021. They are giving away 10 free games this spring. So I believe in addition to them giving out Ratchet and Clank right now, they're also going to be giving away Abzu, Enter the Gungeon, Res Infinite, Subnautica, The Witness, Astrobot Rescue Mission, Moss, Thumper, Paper Beast, and they're doing and Horizon Zero Dawn starting April 19th, the complete edition. So starting from April 19th to May 14th, you'll be able to download the complete edition of Horizon Zero Dawn. They're also doing extended trials of Funimation. So
that's cool.
And of Wakanim, which I think is like depending on the region, it's Funimation or that. But yeah, so you get your 14-day free trial, and then you also get an extra 3 months on top of that. So like that's pretty dope. And then the only other thing I guess I'll talk about here is Jade Raymond. You know who Jade Raymond is, right?
Nope.
She helped work on like Assassin's Creed originally. Like she was a big part of the Assassin's Creed team when that first came out. She was at Stadia recently, and she was heading up the Stadia games, and then they shut all that down. She now formed a new studio called Haven and is now publishing a game through Sony.
So people were saying that.
Yeah, so maybe Jade Raymond will finally get to make a video game.
What like any of them meant. So to be honest,
yeah, no,
I told you I abandoned all Assassin's Creed love, man.
Yeah. I didn't think of a title for this episode. When should I didn't come up with a title.
The Bonds of Friendship.
The Bonds of Friendship. Perfect. Cool. Nat, do you have anything else before we wrap up?
No, I'm just chilling. Yeah, I would say don't be a dick. Try to empathize with people. Everybody's going through shit. Just because you're also going through shit doesn't make your shit worse.
Doesn't mean you get to kill 8 people.
I mean, especially that, but
I don't know. I feel like it needs to be said now.
No, it definitely does.
I feel like it's one of those weird things that needs to be said. You don't get
like
to
that
go
should be understood.
On a
like, you know what I mean?
Violent tangent. Just because you have a bad day. We're not the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is. Thank you for listening. We love you guys. Unless you're a hateful person, then please leave. Never come back. But if you're a tolerant individual who respects other people, then we love you being here, and we hope you'll keep coming back. That's pretty much it. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Evening, day, morning, whenever you're listening. Have a good one of it.
Later, guys.